What's up, guys? Welcome to another Whiskey and Nerd Shit episode. In today's episode, we bring you guys Loki, episode 1, which was amazing. Then we brought in our Star Wars expert back to get us caught up with Bad Batch and then talk all the Star Wars with you guys. As far as whiskey goes, we had a battle of bourbons with Blood Oath. We had Pact 6 finished in cognac casks versus the new Pact 7 finished in Sauternus casks. And then we had a battle of the Balvenie Scotch. We had 12-year American Oak versus the 14-year Caribbean cask. Be sure to check us out. This video will be uploaded to YouTube in a day or two, Monday, Tuesday-ish. Be sure to check us out on TikTok for our Whiskey and Nerd Shit shorts, where we're just doing bourbon reviews, quick updates for you guys. And as always, guys, thanks for listening so much. You guys are amazing. Stay nerdy, drink whiskey, Hail Hydra.
Whiskey and Nerd Shit Podcast.
Are we starting with the American Oak?
Yes.
Balvenie American Oak.
That is.
I don't know why I have to sing that. Yeah, that's the heavier pour. Blake's a little heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Oh, it smells so good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna keep that in my left hand. Okay, so we're going to compare Balvenie American Oak with the Balvenie rum cask.
Yes.
And
I think it's a 12-year and a 14-year also.
Yes. American
12.
Oak is 12.
Yes.
And then your
Caribbean is 14.
14. Really excited.
I get more on the nose with the American Oak, but I get a sweetness at the end of the rum cask.
Yeah. And I think you're always going to get a sweetness at the end of anything finished in a rum cask because
You smell that like
It's rum.
sweet creaminess
it's made of sugar.
at the end, not at the beginning. It like ends.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna try the American Oak.
America.
That is delicious.
That is really good.
A little bit of spearmint.
Yes.
There's a little
I get
mintiness at the
spearmint.
end of it.
Yeah.
I get spearmint.
There's a lot of vanilla and really light oak in the beginning.
Yeah, I get vanilla at the very beginning and then ends with some spearmint.
Yeah.
Same.
That's what I was wondering what the kick was at the end. I was like,
Yeah. And that's the thing with Scotch to me is everything always ends with some sort of floral something.
Yeah.
Whether it is like minty or just any kind of herb. Starts off with vanilla and peat usually, which is not a lot of peat on this.
No, this is surprisingly light. I mean, Balvenie in general is kind of light, just like Glenfiddich is generally kind of light.
Yeah.
But this is actually really simple, basic, not overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of lets the rest of the floral flavors go through. Now the rum. Wow.
that.
Did it touch you in places?
Yes. I liked how it stroked me. It was very nice.
You're going to want to bring that mic just a little bit closer to your face. Eat.
You're right. It is better when it's closer.
I'm going to set down the rum
Yep.
and sip away on the 12-year American Oak.
That has a little bit more heat to it on the back end.
The rum?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Again, then.
Almost like a spice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Almost like a rye spice.
Like a pepper.
Yep.
Like a cracked pepper.
Yep.
A little bit. Whereas this one is spearmint.
Yeah.
This one's more of a cracked pepper.
Yep.
Which is weird because I would expect almost
be the other
no
way around?
harshness.
Opposite.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Considering that it's in a rum cask. So.
Yeah. But maybe that's just what 2 more years in a barrel does.
Maybe.
That's like the difference between like what we did last week with Knob Creek 9 to 12. The 12 ended a little harsher.
It was a little more oaky, and again had more of your leather and tobacco flavors, whereas the Knob Creek 9 as we can go back and fawn over it all over again with all sorts of just liquid caramel love
Yeah.
and parental adoration.
But yeah, at the end of the day, Balvenie, good fucking job. These are both delicious.
Yes, they are.
I like the 14 better than the 12. And that's not being biased.
I think you're being biased.
Probably being biased. I got the 14. So
Just because you bought it.
my-
I mean,
better.
didn't buy it. We bought it
That's
for
right.
you.
That's right. They bought it for me. It was
I
$20.
bought it was a $20
It's $20
14-year rum finish scotch
That's right.
Yeah.
with
So
the
those are
words Balvenie on it.
common.
Right. So, wifey,
Very common.
$20 bottle.
$20.
Good scotch.
Yeah.
So other than
Good,
the
cheap, everyday sipper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can pick it up at your local Walmart. I mean, stuff.
this one has decanter written all over it.
So it's
So-
sitting right next to the Seagrams at the store.
And the Tennessee honey.
Yeah. Yep.
not when I'm drinking.
Yeah.
Jokes after I swallow.
Yeah, there usually are.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, there we
Yeah.
go, right there. That's what she said.
So other than Loki, we'll do Loki first, and then we'll go into Bad Batch.
Okay.
Any particular headlines of cool shit you saw this week?
They are making a sequel to Wedding Crashers.
What? I didn't see this at all.
Confirmed. With the entire cast.
What?
What are they gonna
Doing
do?
Wedding Crashers too. I don't
Crash
know.
their own
Crash.
wedding?
'Cause the
More
first-
weddings.
The
Yeah.
first movie was 13 years ago.
Yeah,
So
Isla Fisher
we
and
went full
Vince
blown
Vaughn.
Ma!
Incredibles. It took 13 years to get a sequel.
As long as he comes back, yeah. As long as look, Wedding Crashers it might be my number one favorite comedy of all time.
Oh yeah, it's up there.
I have seen it easily, and I don't say this lightly, hundreds
Yeah.
of times.
I watched it 2 days ago because Piper had never seen it.
Easily, because
Yeah.
I
I've
watched
never
it.
seen it.
Until she has now, but hadn't.
I
until
watched
2 days
it
ago.
all the time back when it was like on rotation on Comedy Central or TBS.
Yeah.
Every time it was on, I would put it on.
You get the PG-13 version.
I was just gonna say that's the watered down. Yeah,
But you still knew all the jokes, and yeah, that movie, that is a perfect movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because everything works. You have all the different things. It's incredibly hilarious. The entire thing. Got a maple syrup conglomerate. That's insane. You don't know anything about maple syrup. I happen to know everything about maple syrup. Yeah. I'm in. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I
Makes
really
no
don't know where they're
sense.
going to go, but it, like with everything else, there's no more good ideas apparently, and let's just pick up something that was successful and do it again.
No,
Speaking of which.
Hollywood would never do that.
Speaking of which.
Originality 101.
Speaking of which. They're making a Munsters movie.
What?
They are.
What?
They're
They are
making
making a Monsters.
And who's directing the Munsters movie?
Isn't it like Rob Zombie?
Rob Zombie is going to
Yes.
direct the
Ryan
Munsters
Johnson.
movie.
Monsters movie.
He's gonna do great.
Ryan Johnson's got some good stuff to his name. He does not have Star Wars on that list, but yes, I saw on his Instagram where he actually got to drive the original Munsters car,
The Monster Mobile.
the Munster Mobile. The guy that owned it brought it out to him after he,
Who is going to play Lurch? That's you ring.
you ring. Who's
Sweet
gonna play
Wayne.
Herman? Okay. Ooh, no one's been cast yet. Fan cast. Who do you get to play Herman Munster? Can I go ahead and give mine because it's mine for everything? John Hamm. He's just not tall enough.
Yeah,
I put John Hamm in everything. Literally
he
everything.
fits in everything.
Who? Who? The Rock?
He could be Lurch.
He'd be Lurch.
No. No.
I think Stephen Merchant needs to be Lurch.
Yeah.
Do you know who Stephen Merchant is?
No.
Okay. Stephen Merchant is the super tall, skinny dude. He was in Logan. He was in Jojo Rabbit. He's the one that shows up, Heil Hitler. And they do all the things.
I remember that scene. I remember him. Who is he in?
Pale
Oh,
guy.
is he the bad guy in Logan?
No, he's the...
Oh, he's the guy that's like allergic to the sun.
Yes. And
Gotcha.
Forgive me.
Yeah, I can see
Forgive
that.
me, Nerdverse. I am forgetting the character's name. same character was played by somebody else that was in Apocalypse, but I, for the life of me, cannot remember that character's name. But yeah, that's Stephen Merchant.
You're going to want to throat punch me, but Johnny Depp.
As Herman or Lurch?
Herman.
Or the son. or the grandpa.
I was going to say, he could pull them all off. It doesn't matter.
Pull his own Eddie Murphy. Just play every character.
Directed by Rob Zombie.
Johnny Depp is the
Oh,
monster.
God. We're done.
Rocky Marciano.
Yeah.
The greatest father ever.
Yeah, we're done. Yes. I think that needs to be a thing. What about you, Chris? Headlines? Anything interesting you saw this week?
Yeah. Let's see. So there was a meeting between Chapek and Filoni and Favreau and other heads at Disney in talks of future castings and the Star Wars universe and bringing more legends into the storyline. Because, according to the magnificent Kathleen Kennedy, there was really nothing to draw from as far as Star Wars lore. So we had to go, they clearly had a path with their movies. But
Oh, they had something.
oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, from start to finish, it just went... But anyway, so...
It went.
So this is completely rumor mill. You cannot hold me to this. I mean, you can, but
Too
You're
late.
here first, guys.
whatever.
Yeah.
Rumor mill is out there. Several YouTube creators have gone down this road as well. So I'm not the first one to strike on this one, but
Yeah.
there is a possibility that Miss Lovely Lady Gina Carano
It's coming back.
could be
Might
coming
make
back as Cara Dune, and I think that I just want to make sure and I'm checking my facts here before I misstep.
Which we just
But,
talked about a couple
yeah.
weeks ago.
So-
they killed the Rangers of the Republic.
Yeah.
They killed that all together.
They did that. That is done.
That doesn't mean anything in regards to her
really
character.
doesn't, because I mean the whole thing is Favreau is pissed on this because he created the whole show basically around her character, and he said, "Look, there's no recasting her." He said, "I literally created Cara Dune from Gina Carano," and he said, "So you fire her and the show's dead." I mean, that's what happened with that whole deal. But let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's just look and see what happens towards the future. They definitely said more is to come on this.
Yeah.
And even Chapek, who is Disney God, he has come out and has said officially now that the complete situation with Gina Carano was mishandled. And he feels bad about it, and he thinks he wishes it would have went a different way. And rumor mill in the background is that Kennedy is pissed. I mean, she's anti-Gina, and so. But then you've got Favreau and Filoni who are pro Gina. But then you got Gina herself. I mean, would you want to come back?
That's the other thing. You beat me to that. If I'm Gina, I'm like,
I don't know if I want to come back here.
It would be a hard one because I would appreciate and respect the character that they built for me.
Yeah.
And she loves working with Favreau and Filoni
yeah.
and Lucas,
and
by
it
the way,
would,
who was
it
pulled
would
in.
probably take all three of them to sit down and be like, look, here's what we're going to do with the character. Here's why we want you.
Yeah.
You know we want you. Also, here's a couple more zeros on your check.
Hey, if they can
Because
bring,
let's be honest,
if they can bring Gunn back,
it takes a couple more zeros.
you know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, come on.
Oh,
I mean, seriously.
It's a little
If they
bit.
can bring him back,
It's a little bit different, but same, but different.
Right.
Same.
Because same,
different.
but different. Because
it's
his
like
thing.
apples. It's like an Asian apple pear. I mean, it's an apple kind of, and then there's your typical
like
Macintosh.
gun
They're
situation.
both apples.
Yeah. Well, gun situation. His was
Old tweets.
he made
I mean, honestly.
he made jokes in old tweets
Right.
that by today's standards
Is oh my gosh.
are in poor taste.
Right.
Guess what? Culture shift, they grow, they change. It
Yeah,
happens,
yeah.
but that's fine. I'm not saying you can't necessarily hold someone to that, but let's keep an open mind about how people are, how the world works, how things change.
Yeah, yeah.
We've all said stupid, dumb shit 10 years ago or even worse, 15, 20 years
So
ago.
you've grown as a person and you've changed.
That we realize now of, now's not the time. This isn't the world we live in anymore. We don't do that. Yeah, I said stupid shit back then, and if I said that today, it'd be extremely offensive and not okay. It wasn't necessarily okay then, but it's different times. That, and to see so many people just flat out go to war for James Gunn, Dave Bautista for one, he just thought, I will not work for any of you if you don't bring him back.
Yeah.
Well, and you got people behind the scenes that are doing the same thing for Gina Carano.
Mm-hmm. I've heard Favreau is one.
Favreau and Filoni, and supposedly even Lucas is like, hey man, like
y'all fucked up.
It's a great character.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And it was.
And the fan base was really starting to take off on her. I'm going to admit, I'm a prime example. The first time I saw Cara Dune, I was like, I did the eye roll, and I was like, you got to be kidding me, And then when she hit the Mandalorian in the head. And I get the play on it now, but at the time I was like, oh, come on. I mean, like, that's Beskar. And you just hit the guy with a Beskar helmet and he's stunned? I was like, please. But as I took a deep breath and said, hey, let's actually give the character
give it a second
chance.
Yeah.
Dude, I fell in love with her. I mean, I loved the character herself. And then when there was the show that was being built all around her, I was like, yeah, So hopefully,
so was that show going to be a spin-off or prequel?
My understanding.
Let me say that differently: spin-off, sequel, spin-off, prequel. Was it going to be
like the whole Marvel thing?
Okay.
So it was going to be tied into, through the spider web of strings, everything connecting everything.
Yeah,
they were basically wanting to do the Marvel recipe, for Star Wars, and the Rangers were going to link to and twist off and tie off onto Mandalorian, just like Ahsoka Tano. Her spin-off show is going to tie in, and Boba Fett, his show's going to tie in. But anyways, I'm sorry that you said headlines. That was headlines. So now we're getting into Star Wars talk, and we clearly need to talk about Loki.
No, fuck that. We're going to stick with Star Wars talk. We're already in it. So you talk about everything connecting to everything. One of the things in the most recent episode of The Bad Batch, they actually tied in, and I learned this later, to the video game.
Yes.
The planet they went to tied in, the Scrapyard planet.
The Scrap Planet, yes.
Tied into the video game.
The Scrap Guild.
Is that the first time they've tied back into the video game? Because obviously the video game's tying into the movies pretty easy, but is that the first time?
Yes, it was, because at the first episode of The Bad Batch, where they go through Order 66 and you see that young Padawan running up. At first, when I saw him, I thought that was and see, here's Star Wars fans are going to start judging me. You don't know his name?
The dude from Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes.
Yeah.
And gosh, what is his name? I should know that.
I heard his name 4 times today when I was reading and listening on the stuff.
I feel bad about it. But anyways, I thought it was him in the beginning. And I was like, ooh. And then I was like, ooh, no. And then I figured out that
it was Dune.
Rebels,
the Rebels connection.
I was like, yeah.
Which I think I like that that better. I like that better.
I did.
But it was cool to see in episode 7 that they actually made reference, brought them to this planet that was really only prevalent in that game. In the game.
And see, that's where you get the lovely mixture of kind of like almost when you're tasting whiskey and you taste all these different flavors, and all those different flavors tied in. That's the influence of Favreau, and that's the influence of Filoni, and that's the influence of Lucas that they've brought back. I mean, people that are actually understanding, appreciating, and loving Star Wars lore. You know what I mean? They're not looking to make an impact on you with a current thing that's out in society right now. They want to take you to a fantasy world. They want you to escape all of that, and they're like, we're going to give you a character to love, and if it happens to be a female, and if it happens to be binary, and if it happens to be a whatever, we're going to build this character because the character is building, not because we need to put in a checkbox just to appease somebody.
We're not throwing this in your face. We're literally giving this character because this character makes sense.
Just like Omega. I like what they're doing with Omega.
I do too.
You know what I mean? Especially if they take Omega like they did with Ahsoka Tano when she was Snips and she was, that's a prime example. You get a new character that's introduced when Ahsoka Tano was first introduced, she was an annoying character.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, who is this? But then, like, she is one of my all-time favorite. She's a badass. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Oh, she's fantastic.
I mean, I love her.
Because you grew to love her throughout the show.
Exactly, because I grew with her, and I think they have the potential, and I think that's what you see Filoni and Favreau and Lucas all kind of. I think like a clay mold, they have very big intentions for Omega, and I think she's going to play in it. My only hope is that they don't retcon and pull in the whole Disney War things, and they might have to do that.
I would say that's going to be a hard thing not to do.
It
but
is, and I think
if you leave it to them,
yeah,
they could do it right.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
yeah.
I agree with you. And the whole cloning thing that went down with the Emperor,
yeah,
you know what I mean, Palpatine,
yeah,
and so that I have a feeling is going to be tied into with Omega. But if you follow Legends and if you follow even some of the preceding video games, where Starkiller was a clone,
yeah,
he was a Force clone. He was one of the first successful Force clones, and that was Darth Vader trying to basically have an apprentice so that he and his apprentice could defeat Palpatine. I mean, that was the whole intention on.
So was Starkiller a Jango Fett clone, or was he cloned off of somebody else?
No,
because I never played the game.
They never really came out, and there was a lot of
who was he
like,
cloned?
It was an understood.
Exactly. Was it
really
Luke's hand?
Clone, yeah.
Was it Luke's hand that was taken? I mean, because that's part of Luke, and it.
Yeah, it could have been a pretty cool storyline.
I mean, there's no telling. There's so many different ways. I mean, like,
yeah,
look what they're doing with Baby Yoda now in Mandalorian. And the Force sensitive clones are not clone trooper, but the
Shock Troopers.
Shock Troopers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, all that being said, I think Omega has the potential to go far in her character. But wrapping it back to what you're saying, yeah, you see little connections like that, like the video game and the all the old Venator class, which kind of got me thinking though. That's where my geekdom kind of tweaked in a little bit, and I was like, some of these Venators are very old and rusted out, and I'm like, and the Empire just literally took over. Matter of fact, there's still Venators flying around
When the Empire
right,
first starts
the Star
taking over.
Destroyer hasn't really taken full effect at this point in the timeline.
Yeah, because there's within a year.
Yeah.
Let's say even from episode to episode, they get a little bit of a time jump, couple weeks, maybe a month.
Yeah, even if they go a few months, you're still going to see Venator class.
I would say you're still within the first year, so there's not going to be
starships,
a huge shift.
The fact that there was this graveyard and they were all rusted out, because the video game is like, oh gosh, how many years later is it? I know.
I don't remember the years, but I know the guy in it. He's supposed to be the same age as Omega is now. They're both around 10 to 13.
Okay,
yeah,
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So if he's Force sensitive, because again, I didn't play the game, but did you play? Did I? Okay. So this character, and honestly, feel free to look it up because we really should.
I'm gonna have to. That is bugging the living crap out of me.
He's a Padawan in training. Order 66
Right.
happens. He goes into hiding on this planet where he's just working on,
becoming a Jedi.
well, no, he's just deconstructing old ships. He's keeping his Jedi shit secret, and becomes friends with a guy. The guy almost dies. He catches him
Cal.
using the Force. Cal.
Yeah, Cal Kestis.
So
Cal. I mean, everyone. There we go. I know
Simple.
there's nerds
Yeah.
out there going, Cal, you idiot.
damn it. So Cal, he uses the Force, save his buddy, rats him out. They end up killing his buddy. He pulls the lightsaber. They realize it's him, and that starts that whole story from that. But at the time, he's supposed to be about 13, roughly, which is about what Omega is. I thought she was about 10 or 11.
Maybe a little bit younger. but
maybe.
Yeah.
still in that same age group.
Yeah.
thereabouts.
So is the prevailing theory that she is Force sensitive?
Yes.
Okay.
And you could tell she was Force sensitive, and I know that's the direction they're going to go with it, because Crossfire is one of the best shots literally in the Empire.
And she almost took him out with a pistol.
And she, first time picking up a blaster, and she's like, pow, 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 pow.
Yeah.
And guys, I know where you're going with it. And you're like, Mary Sue. And I mean, like, no, not Mary Sue. Force sensitive. And she still is in a learning process. It's not like she mastered it. She just
It's not like she's Rey, who
it
in
was
2
almost
weeks.
like a reflex. It was
Yeah.
almost like a reflex because if you watch later on, she gets that bow and arrow basically, and she's a horrible shot with that thing. I mean, she's all over the place. But in that moment where it was just a natural, where the force
Like
took
an
over,
instinct.
exactly.
Yeah, when the instinct had to
A
take
reaction.
over, it was
yeah,
there.
and it's like pop, pop, pop. And so yes, I feel like she's forced.
That episode was with the Martez sisters.
Yeah, and I mean, like I don't know what to think
That was
about
6, right? Episode 6 with
6
the
or 5.
one of those two.
in
Had the Martez
in
and Bad Batch.
season 7. Oh, we're talking Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But yeah, I think so. When they removed, also in this latest episode, they Wrecker finally loses it. He
Yeah,
finally
his chip.
the chip
Man,
finally activates.
finally gets to him.
And dude,
That fight sequence with him going berserk.
dude, he
Yeah.
flips up
That
the
was
helmet,
awesome.
Yeah.
and he's like, "You're in violation of Order 66,
Yeah.
you're treasonous." And I mean, here's even Omega. Wrecker, we're friends, and he's
Yeah.
like,
Nope.
"Fuck you, you little bitch! I'm gonna kill you." Can I say that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
It's called whiskey nerd shit.
All right, there we go. I didn't know if we get demonetized or something like that.
We have to get monetized
It's
first.
demonetized before we can be demonetized.
You can't lose something you never had.
Yeah, but I mean, it's impressive to see, and it's kind of sad because when, by the way, Captain Rex makes his cameo in this episode.
Love Rex.
Yeah,
Rex is so
one
great.
of my all-time favorite clones. ARC Trooper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was
So,
awesome.
Yeah, he's just all around badass. But even when he said, I thought it was very telling when he's talking to the guys and they're hugging on him, all that kind of stuff in the bar, and then they're talking about the chips and everything, and he just
Like-
immediately goes, "Wait,
It just
you
still have your chips?"
your
Yeah.
chips?" And dude, he immediately starts going
Yeah.
for the sidearm.
They're all like, oh, wait, what the fuck?
You know,
You're like, what's up, man?
What's going on here? Look at the flowers.
Yeah. Look at the rabbits, Lenny. With that said,
But
I think Wrecker's my favorite character on the
Oh,
entire
yeah.
thing.
You like
The
Wrecker?
comedic
I
relief.
love
yeah.
Wrecker.
Yeah, he's a good comedic
And
relief.
I
The full
for,
sprint headbutt. And
for the
Yes.
for the Lenny factor of him being just big, dumb, he reminds me of my dog.
He's so lovable.
Giant,
I mean,
dumb,
honestly.
and lovable.
But people are coming out. Like there's another content creator that I follow, and I absolutely love the guy. I don't agree with everything that he says, but Doomcock.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he came out and he was talking that. So 2 things. Interestingly enough, Disney viewership for the Bad Batch is number 1. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, that's good. Well, but according to what they're under the table saying, 500,000 viewers, 500,000. And I'm like, I know,
That's
right?
not that
makes
great.
me.
Those are some
I'm
low
like,
numbers.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one, Doomcock.
Number 1 compared to what?
I know, right? Because I can tell you this right now, and it's not that I'm biased or anything like that, or just Star Wars. I love everything.
I love Star Wars.
I love Star Wars. So, but I really like Bad Batch. I really like the direction that it's going in. I like the building of the characters. Is it slow in some parts? Absolutely. But
Well,
what show is it?
halfway through the first season.
How many episodes did they say this was going to have? I heard
16?
like 20.
I think 20 is right.
Is
20 or
right?
21.
I think I
Which is
initially heard
awesome.
16.
I'm like, hey, keep going. I mean, like,
Hey, if we can, you working on that?
give me something to watch during the coof.
Yeah, because
16.
Okay, so it is 16.
16.
So we are
So we're
right
almost
about
halfway. We just
yeah.
finished 7.
That's not bad considering the times that we're in right now. And
Yes.
that they're able to produce it. It's animation, so they're gonna pour more resources into it for now because they can do that without people COVID and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
it's cheaper given the
yeah.
circumstances.
Man, overall character development of this and how the direction that it's heading in, especially when you have Favreau and Filoni and Lucas. I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, that's a triple threat right there, man. You've got the God himself that created everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got 2 of the biggest fanboys sitting right there with him.
See, that's the
that
power
understand
of
it.
getting people that actually know the content. Like the thing about Feige is Feige
Great with Marvel, by the way.
knows
Yeah. He knows the characters.
he knows comics.
Yeah.
He knows the Marvel comics. He knows all of the stories. So when he became, the guy in charge doing this, he's like, okay, I know how I want to build this.
Yes.
I know I can pull from this story, give it to your room of writers and say, this is what we want to do here. It needs to connect this. Write me something that makes this work.
Yeah.
Here's the rough story I want to do, or here's the characters I want to pull in. Make this work.
Yeah.
And make it tie into this.
Well,
and
he
one
also
big
knew that
picture.
it was going to take, 12, 13 years for it to all wrap up and tie together, instead of just being like, let's make a whole bunch of different individual movies and never have them tied together like everything in the past has always done.
That had honestly never been done before.
Yeah,
Exactly.
If you think about it.
And then
And it's infuriating.
other than
that-
Star Wars with including Mandalorian and the shows, Star Wars hasn't done it either, but they're the closest.
Well,
Warner Brothers,
but Lucas
fucking Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
handed, and I think that's why I fucking hate Kathleen Kennedy so much. Is because he literally handed her a guidebook to basically saying, here's the lore, here's the direction that it can head in. I'm not saying that you have to do this fucking verbatim, but it's a step-by-step process that can take you to greatness.
Here's an outline that can work for
And
you.
what do they do? It's so frustrating that they finally... I mean, we all knew it deep down as geeked out, nerdy fans like me. We all knew when we started watching Disney Wars that there was no direction in this. I mean, after the second movie, if anybody could honestly say, oh yeah, there's clear direction. And then for Jar Jar Abrams to come out and go, Misa had no plan. I don't know. So, I mean...
See, I don't even put that on him. I think he started out, he would have just given you...
He's part of it, though, man. I mean, I'm not saying the buck stops with him because he's a director, but and I understand you got your producers and you got Kathleen Kennedy.
I think the buck unfortunately stops with Kathleen Kennedy.
It does,
but
absolutely, with her.
Force
It starts and
Awakens.
stops with her.
Force
Oh, yeah.
Awakens wasn't that bad of a movie. It was fine. It was a stage setter.
Mm-hmm.
It was A New Hope. That's what it was.
It was a cloned out, ramped up on steroids, with some check boxes thrown in there. New Hope.
It was a 2010 New Hope. It's what
Yes.
New Hope would be
I know, right?
if you made it in 2010
Right.
for all the things you just said.
Right.
So, but that's not a bad thing if you build off of it.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, Ryan Johnson came in and did the opposite. He threw a grenade underneath.
gonna go over here now.
Yeah, he threw a grenade underneath it and then danced away
I think
in the other direction.
Yeah, I think his arrogance got thrown into it, and his own just loving of himself. I don't know.
Well, I think that's
And
the
I
thing
like-
is if you get handed the keys to Star Wars, they're like, hey, make it. And you're just like, I got to make this fucking incredible movie now. And so you start going off your
you're fucked
thoughts.
up.
But just
and
like what y'all were saying about Feige,
Yeah.
he knew, okay, we're going to start here, and then it's going to go here.
And guess what? He's
it's
doing that.
all going to come back together, and everybody's going to.
And he's doing that with different writers. He's
Yeah.
doing that with different directors.
Yeah.
He's doing that with different actors.
And-
so he
and
can make it
look-
work. Are they all just fucking gold mines?
No, that's
Captain
exactly
Marvel
what I was gonna
sucks.
say. Some
Thor
of them-
Dark World
some of them
isn't
were
great.
flops. Terrible.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, they're all tying in together. So even on the flops, you could sit there and say, okay, I can accept this because I know the direction that you're leading me towards.
Yeah. I understand the purpose behind this film.
I
see
got
this part of the
through-
trip sucks.
Yeah.
But I know where we're going.
Yeah.
I
You know?
understand the journey.
Exactly. And I think that's the infighting that you're seeing right now that nobody wants to talk about behind closed doors behind Disney with Chapek, with all of them, because you have the Kathleen Kennedy camp and then you got the Favreau Filoni camp. And honestly, if you're looking at it from a fan point, it's the Favreau Filoni. It has to be, because they understand Star Wars. And
Yes.
bless her heart, Kathleen Kennedy, no, you don't. But anyways, I'm sorry. We're getting way off subject, but
Not really.
oh, okay. Well,
They're in our opinions, and everyone might not be on board with this concept, but in our opinions, Favreau and Filoni are the Feige direction for Star Wars.
yes, that's what I was trying to get
Whereas Kathleen Kennedy is the Warner Brothers direction of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Did you get more of like a mint on this at the end? I think that was the spice, the pepper, what we were talking about earlier.
On the rum?
On the 14?
On the 14.
The 14?
Yep. I just got a big, strong.
As I went back and forth between them, the spearmint was initially very prominent in the 12-year,
Yes.
the American oak,
Yeah.
and the black pepper was very prominent on the end of the rum. But as we went through,
They kind of swapped a little.
a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of.
That was how they opened up.
I had to look back. I was like, "Am I drinking the right one?"
I just thought that with my last drink of the 14, I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, so.
A little bit more of a bite on the end.
Okay, I see what you're doing there.
So
Jimmy.
while we shift, well, first, since we're cleaning our glasses to switch over to the other dueling whiskeys, do you have a winner between the two?
They were both amazing. Like, honestly,
I think they.
I would be happy with either one of them.
Yes.
Because for me, I don't have a winner.
I really don't.
I legitimately, because I like them
about
both
the
for their own
14,
reasons.
You know, I want to jump on the 14 and say 14, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But honestly,
I got to justify my purchase.
Exactly.
I got to justify your purchase
Yeah, the 20
for the gift
$20 gift
that I did not buy
$15,
myself.
$10.
I'm telling you right now, you can't go wrong with either. One
No,
is a
you
little
can't.
bit more expensive than the other, but for what you're getting in taste and just to appreciate what you're drinking, I think you could be good with the 12.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I liked it
Yeah.
a lot.
They were both for me. They're both very, very similar.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's Balvenie, and they're 2 years apart. You're not exactly changing worlds here. They're very, very similar. You got a little bit of just hints here and there from the rum being a little bit sweeter, and the
You
American
get a little
oak.
vanilla from the 12. It's more of like a bourbon.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
nailed it.
Yeah.
And it honestly, the difference would depend on what my mood is that day.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Legitimately,
I liked them both.
they're
I mean, honestly.
they're a match in my opinion. Now, before we move on to the Blood Oaths, and we'll dive into what those are, how hard it is to get, and all that, I will end the Bad Batch with the questions to you, sir. Who was Rex talking to, and who saw the Bad Batch at the end of the episode for episode 7? Was Rex talking to someone like Ahsoka? Was he
Not
talking?
yet,
Was he
because-
talking to the Martez sisters again? Was he talking to the other guys that he meets up with and we see him with in Rebels? Which I don't think at this point he's found yet.
So if you look at the timeline, man, I was thinking the same thing when he was on that comm. I was like, who are you talking to, Rex?
Because he would have just been fairly separated from Ahsoka.
And Ahsoka and him split.
Yeah.
And that's when Ahsoka goes off and does her own thing for a while. And then she ties back in. And what a lot of conjecture is out there is that Ahsoka was one of the founding members of the Rebel Alliance. She's the one that, not in leadership up front role, but she
And
was
organizing.
Yes.
Yeah.
From the very
Which,
word go.
when you meet her in Rebels, she already has that role of being in the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah, but in secrecy.
Yeah, but she's not
'Cause
up front. Yeah.
The whole Falcon thing and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But,
So if I put a gun to your head right now, who do you think he radioed?
who do I think what?
Who do you think he radioed? Who do you think Rex radioed at the end saying he'll meet you wherever the balls?
And if it is Ahsoka, is she going to be in the show?
I don't think she shows up in the season.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
In the show in general.
Maybe
Yes.
Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Maybe I think if a gun was to my head, I'd be Ahsoka. But I have a feeling my brains would be blown out because I think I'm wrong. I really haven't put enough deep thought into that yet.
I'm
And
hoping Ahsoka. I'm thinking Martez sisters because that's who.
I think it's something simple
gonna
like
tie back
that.
in?
Yeah.
Well, Martez sisters were. That's who the Martez sisters were talking to at the end of episode 5 or 6 or whatever it was, saying that they had found the Bad Batch. They were talking to Rex,
Yeah.
and they are the ones that
and they're
led
the
Rex.
ones that are actually currently fighting, quote unquote, against the Empire now.
Yeah.
So, something to fight for, and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Conversation. So I think it's more plausible that it was the Martez sisters. Or maybe, honestly, early very foundation based. Haven't even gotten started really that we know about rebellion leadership.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's so open to that. And what was the other question?
Who spotted him?
Oh, that's easy. Through the binoculars?
Yeah.
So that was the Scrap Guild.
Okay.
That was the Scrap Guild because remember, at first they were going on that little hover pad and they were flying around, and Rex was telling them, "Hey, this is," or actually it was Tech that pulled down his things and spotted them and everything. But they were saying that's the Scrap Guild, and the Scrap Guild is closely tied in with the Empire. Because they're working for the Empire because obviously they're getting all this scrap,
all the work.
You know? So they get the contracts from the Empire, so they get all the work. So of course they're going to be like, "Hey,
they hit up Tarkin.
Yeah.
well, we got one.
Yo, T-Money, I got a guy for you."
I don't even know if they necessarily, because they just said they had it in Intruders, so I don't even think they know
Exactly
necessarily who they are. They just know, the Empire probably needs to know this.
Yeah.
They're coming out of a Jedi, a former Jedi Venator class starship. That's not good.
Something's happening
up.
there.
So get a hold of the Empire, and then you're going to have Inquisitors and stuff like that are going to.
Okay, that was my last question. Is do you think they start bringing in Inquisitors?
I do, but I think that's going to be towards the tail end of the season. I think you're still going to have bounty hunters. The bounty hunters are going to fail, and once the bounty hunters fail, then I think you'll start seeing.
You got to see the animated version of, and I just blanked on her name, Boba Fett's little buddy. She was in episode 4 or 5 as well. She's the one that was in The Mandalorian that he shot in the stomach, and then she had a robo stomach.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Chun-Li.
Yeah.
Yep.
She was originally Chun-Li in that terrible Street Fighter movie.
Yes.
That woman does not age. She looks exactly the same.
Oh yeah.
Good on you, Asian lady.
And she's like 50.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Uh-huh. Yep, same thing. I wish I could remember her name. Yeah, she's fantastic. So I think... Do you think that they kind of trade off bad guys, bringing in the Inquisitors and losing the...
Bounty hunters.
Not the bounty hunters. Crossfire?
Yeah, he's definitely going to be brought into it. Whether or not they're able to get him separated from the Empire and have the chip removed.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be one of the big cliffhangers at the end.
Which you could easily eat up. You're on episode 7, so you got 9 episodes left.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You could have the last 9 episodes take place on the planet you're at, unfolding that story.
You could. I don't think they'll do that. I think they're going into
mostly because it's Star Wars, not Scrap Planet Wars.
Up the Star Wars world. I mean, you've already seen multiple different planets.
Yeah, we're
with
like
the Bad Batch that you've never seen before in Star Wars lore. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's not true because now, see, my Star Wars geeks are going to throw rocks at me. You're a liar.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. I should say in film or in animation.
Animation.
Yes, you've seen it in comics and you've seen it in Legends and stuff like that. They've tapped on this, which interestingly enough, that's where you're seeing some of this stuff getting slowly introduced.
Yeah, and again, you have all this so much lore.
It's ridiculous. I mean, Legends alone could be taken and easily converted over into canon and just be mind blown.
So the fact that you have any issue, literally, the fact that you have any issue putting stuff together, which it appears they're having less. They seem to be having a different trajectory now than they did, say, 9 years ago with Force Awakens, and okay, we're doing what?
Yeah.
You guys did what? It seems to be a better path. It seems to have a direction now. Is there, arguments in paradise? Yeah. That's not a bad thing.
Well, you have two different directions that they want to go in. You have Team Kennedy, and then you've got Team Favreau-Filoni, and who's going to win? I mean, honestly, because right now, as far as the reins and the keys and who's in power right now, that's obviously Kathleen Kennedy. But who has the power over her? That's Chapek, and it seems like Chapek's ear is starting to get bent more by Favreau and Filoni because he has the support of Lucas, and they're looking honestly at us, the fans, and saying, okay, there's a lot of division right now, and there's a lot of hate and anger being spread around the fan base, and is this healthy for profit margins?
Honestly, I wouldn't even go that far. I'd walk in and be like, hey, you know all that money you just made with Marvel?
You want to make more of that?
You want to do the exact same thing again with a tried and true medium?
Yeah.
Here's
Can I
our
get
plan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Here's our medium. Okay, no, you're right, money.
Yeah.
Here's our plan. Here's all the shows and movies and how we want to do it. Just like Feige did with Marvel before they got bought out by Disney.
Yeah.
And was like, this is my plan. Here's how we can do this. Here's how we can make it extended. And it's not even the same in the fact that Kevin Feige, they rolled a dice on Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. with Iron Man. They did not know how it was going to go. Yeah. If that failed...
And that was their shot.
Yeah.
They had one chance.
And if that failed, that means Captain America would come out, and the Incredible Hulk would come out, and then they would kill production on the rest of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't fail at all. And like, oh, fuck, okay. All right, no, we can do this. And then you give yourself your Avengers and your group battles and stuff like that, and you create big milestones to further the story and then constantly keep putting people in.
Who would have thought, though, honestly? I mean, think about it. You know, it's that whole behind-the-scenes, pitch meeting.
Yeah.
So I've got an idea. Okay, Iron Man. Yeah. Who's going to star in it? Are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Are you sure? Yeah, sure.
Tom Cruise.
No, he's got something going on. Okay, all right. I got to back up. You ready? Robert Downey Jr.
But can we call Tom Cruise first?
They're like, wait a minute.
What about Nicolas
Isn't he in
Cage?
jail?
Wait, we were probably getting him for like $200, right?
What about Nicolas Cage? Wait, Robert Downey Jr. He's cheap. I need Robert Downey Jr. Got it.
He just got out of jail, right?
Yeah.
Is he still drinking and doing cocaine? I don't know. Want to risk it?
Because didn't he make like $500,000 for that movie?
I'm sure it was.
So it was something ridiculous.
It was insanely low, which is why he made an insanely amount of money on Avengers.
Yeah, it was like $75 million a piece on Infinity War Endgame.
I mean, like, I remember watching it, and I was so pessimistic walking into the movie theater. I remember that. I remember walking in going, how long is it going to be before I get up and walk out? I mean, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and the entire movie I literally had to pick it up.
You're
2 or
like,
3 different
holy
times.
shit, this is working.
I was like, this is
but
amazing.
Again, you don't have to create these characters. You don't have to create the depth and the layers. You can tweak them to the actor, which is what Robert Downey Jr. did. But you have years and years of
40,
history,
50, 60 years worth of storyline
of stuff that's written for you.
You can take.
Star Wars
Exactly.
has the same thing. And you have someone who's kind of just spitballing stuff and seeing what sticks, and then you have somebody else that's in there that's been a huge fan.
Yep.
That's like, no, we can make it
There's a
like
roadmap.
Marvel. And again, you have one that wants to do it like Marvel, and you have Kathleen Kennedy that wants to do it like Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has the exact same, a millennia of freaking stuff to draw on and create, and just tremendous characters, yet they can't create a vision to put it all together. Instead, you get this one Green Lantern movie, this other random Batman movie that's been pushed out with a skinny guy that used to be a vampire, and this other thing, this one Aquaman movie, this was a good Wonder Woman. Let's do it again. Oh,
only in 1984.
Missed on that one.
It was a great year.
Oh god, that movie was fucking terrible. Anyway,
hey, so High Republic, man, that's what I'm saying. You know what? I'm almost to the point where I'm like, let her make it. Everyone's like, there's so much hate and discontent against the High Republic right now, and I'm like, let her make it. Let her make it, and let the fans decide if it's going to be a dumpster fire or if it's going to be the next Iron Man. Which, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm hedging my bets on dumpster fire, but just because it's one of those that they're less interested in a story and more interested in checkboxes, But look, we have this character. Look, we have this character. I'm like, but where is my investment in that
traditionally
character? Look at Omega. I mean, Omega's a young little girl that I'm already starting to get vested in.
Yeah.
That I'm like...
absolutely. I was kind of like Omega, like you were with Ahsoka Tano as Snips, of, okay, I get it. She's a young girl. She's fucking annoying. All young children, 8 to 27 are really annoying. And okay, I get it, but her developing that relationship, you already have the father-daughter relationship with Hunter, and then you immediately have this, like, honestly, daughter giant fucking idiot dog relationship.
It's almost like imaginary friendship
with Wrecker.
Who's a good boy?
Legitimately, like, Wrecker reminds me of my dog Murdoch.
Yeah.
He's just big, dumb, goofy, happy, doesn't care, running around, too strong for his own good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you see those, again, character development in an animated series.
He'll be the first to die.
I think so too.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was coming in this
I
episode.
thought, I was like...
No, way too soon. I
Yeah.
don't think any of them are going to die this season.
I thought too soon as well, but I was hoping she was pulling that trigger.
Yeah.
I was hoping, like, it would have been legit, not to kill him.
I get what you're saying.
Not to kill him, but just to show that...
To have to shoot him.
Wing him.
Well, to have to shoot him, and think about the path of dealing with that with the character of... She wasn't afraid to do it.
Maybe it could have been better if they would have set it up where... who was it that shot Wrecker, that got him with the stun? Was
Rex.
that Rex?
Rex.
Okay.
Yeah, he recovered and came back.
What would have been awesome is if he would have stunned Wrecker, and as Wrecker is falling, she fires, and it just barely inches from his head.
Yeah.
Like a
she was going
simultaneous-
for the kill shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like
I didn't want to kill you.
shoots-
Exactly. And like you see it, it
And then
could
you
be
get
like
that
one of
big,
them
deep exhale.
cinematic, like slow, just briefly, just a brief slow mo, like maybe 2 or 3 seconds,
or
of
just graze
just
the side of
enough
his
for you
helmet.
to see that. Yeah, she was going to take
the shot.
She was going to take him out. That would have been pretty cool.
And then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I tried to stop myself. I did, and I was gonna kill your bitch ass."
Yeah.
So sorry about that. I didn't really mean to shoot you in the face.
It's a good thing I missed, right? Okay, so before we jump on Loki and the page of shit I got on that,
The cliff notes on that thing. I was impressed.
it was so
Your
good.
handwriting is so pretty.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Let's move on to the Blood Oath.
Yes.
So, Blood Oath. I'll run down what Blood Oath is for you, Mr. Chris.
I'm going to pour mine and pass
So-
the bottle.
Blood Oath is a sourced whiskey blend. So a master distiller of Lux Row goes out and he sources 4, 5, 6 different whiskeys, and he blends it into his own little creation.
This one, Pact 7's 3 whiskeys.
3 whiskeys? I think this one's 3 whiskeys as well. Different years. And he'll blend them to be a specific thing, and then on the most recent couple, he finishes them in something else. Like there's a rum finish one. I believe that's Pact 5.
Yes.
The Pact 6 that you're holding is cognac finish. That was 2020 release. And
this one is the Saturnus.
Saturnus white wine finish. So they only come out with 1 Pact a year. They do not remake this. So
We made again.
the Pact 6 that he has right there, once he finishes that bottle, he cannot buy that again. It's gone.
Oh well. Now they do this every year.
Annual release.
This is
As of
now-
year.
now,
So that's the box that
This
it comes
is
in
what,
with
a
the
12?
the year.
It's a blend.
So 3 whiskeys. I think it's 2 12s and an 8.
2 12s and an 8.
So
So
the way
blend.
that works
And that
is
doesn't necessarily mean that they're only as old as 12 years. That means that the youngest barrel in that cask
In the
was,
blend.
was 12 years.
Yes.
You could have something that could be 13, 14 years.
yeah, you could have an 8-year-old whiskey blend that has a 19-year in it.
Yeah.
Right.
But you have to put the youngest
Right.
blend or youngest aged whiskey in the blend. So we don't know if there's going to be another one after this because the distillery was bought out recently.
It was Sazerac, wasn't it?
MGP.
We should be bought it.
MGP bought it. So we don't know if it's going to happen again. These are fairly heavily allocated. Like the liquor store that we went to, they got 1, but it was on points and it was gone in a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my liquor store got 1, and the owner gave it to his top customer, which was not me.
I was like,
I did not get this from
no.
my normal place. No, I got this from New York.
Oh, really?
He has a
Yeah.
guy in New York.
I got guys all over.
We're saving the wine for...
Wine will be second, so go with the darker one,
Yeah,
which is cognac.
and it is tasty.
I do enjoy this one.
I haven't had this in a while. I haven't had this in 6 months, maybe longer
So before
than
I
that.
start spitting out stuff that I am nosing on this, it's a little different than I remember. I will...
I think my wife is watching this, and I think she just said,
You are in
I looked up that bottle. It is not $20.
You are in so much
You
trouble.
are so fucked. Not in a good way.
I get... Okay, on the nose, we'll play with you, Chris. What do you get? Keep in mind, there's no wrong answer. It's just the way I heard it recently is think about basic foods or drinks that you would have and smells that it reminds you of.
I have to mentally go to the kitchen when I start sniffing stuff.
Kind of. Sometimes. Sometimes I have to go outside the kitchen, which is how I get like Stripes gum and
True. Yeah.
Laffy
Our wicker
Taffies.
chair moments.
Yeah.
I get like, again, not trying to be repetitive, but I get like almost like a mint in the beginning. You know, like almost like a fresh
Yeah.
smell.
I could see that. I get a little bit of like a confection sugar marshmallow kind of
Yeah,
sweet.
followed up by a sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get sweetness and then a hint of rice spice.
I get that spice on the tail end.
Caramel.
A lot of caramel.
Yeah.
A lot of caramel.
Yeah.
A lot of dark
That's-
burnt caramel.
Yep. And then just that sweet smoothness you would get from a cognac.
A little bit of a
Almost like a spice towards the end for me.
like a spiced candy.
Yeah.
Kind of at the end.
Yeah, like something.
I don't want to say like a red hot, but that kind of
Yeah.
mindset.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't want to sound like an idiot.
No.
But that's exactly what I was
You-
thinking.
there's-
I
A
was
hot
like,
tamale even.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a red hot.
Yeah,
Mike
no.
and Ike's,
So essentially
you know,
that means
the-
you got
Yeah,
cinnamon in
no,
it.
that's
Exactly.
legitimately
Yeah,
kind of
so a little cinnamon too.
yeah, like a little cinnamon
Yes.
candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So caramel and then it gets a little cinnamon spice candy.
This was my number one whiskey for a long time.
Yeah.
Just
Same.
because of all the flavors in it. Cognac finished. It was so good.
My younger brother, who barely drinks whiskey at all now because he went super athlete on me,
He did go super athlete. Ironmans don't train themselves.
they don't. If and when he does drink, that's the one thing he does want to drink. That's his end all be all still, is that one.
Okay, now I'm gonna go in after we've taken a couple sips of this.
I'm going to get me a little bit of lime Skittle. It's a good year.
Fresh in the palate.
Sponsored, not sponsored by Waterloo.
Ah, that's childhood all over again. That's me going
So
to the
I
railroad
did
track,
look up a
breaking
review
shit.
of people ranking all the Blood Oaths from 1 to 7.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it was after we drink it.
Okay,
I
fair
don't want
enough.
to skew any palates.
This has a slightly more traditional bourbon
More
flavor.
Yeah.
char.
Yeah.
Yeah. With almost a hint of vanilla in there.
It's a lot lighter.
It is lighter. You don't have the dark,
No.
bold flavor that the cognac gave you on
It's
the other
like
one.
Very light caramel, very light butterscotch.
Yes.
Yeah, butterscotch. I got
Um,
butterscotch.
That's where I was thinking.
But
I was
not
getting that
heavy.
vanilla.
Yeah. And not as sweet as I was expecting it to be, because I was expecting that white wine to really throw in a lot of...
This almost comes off, and I hate saying this because it's
Still
like
getting the vanilla.
it's a popular thing to say right now. It has like, and I'm getting this because I watched entirely too much of the Whiskey Vault and Whiskey Tribe. It's got like a craft young kind of funk.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the white wine that's
The funk?
given a weird note
White
to
wine
it.
brought the funk to the party.
Not normally, but
Yeah,
in this
not
case,
normally, no.
there's a weird funky note in there that I can't put my finger on.
It's the neck pour.
I get grapes, like green grapes.
I think that's like the hint, because there is a hint of sweetness to it. It's not as
Yeah,
sweet as I
I'm-
thought it was
that's why
going to
I
be.
keep on trying. I'm like, what is the sweetness that I'm smelling?
It's
that I'm
something
tasting?
essentially like grapes. I was kind of thinking like watermelon almost. It's
Like
something
a
like
light
watery
fruit?
and refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
When
light.
you say the watermelon, I was like, I can see that.
Yeah, you get like kind of like it's just like the refreshing taste on
Yeah,
your tongue.
like not necessarily.
It doesn't taste like watermelon. Like I just put out two
watermelons, but-
C's just now, but it's got like that light butterscotch, and then it fades down into just like a refreshing sip.
Yeah, that's good.
It is good.
So on all the rankings I saw of 1 through 7, ranking best to worst, Pact 4 led every list, which is the toasted.
Of course it did.
Which apparently I'm gonna get a couple little
samples of.
Yeah.
Have you gone back to this yet?
I'm gonna go back to it right now.
Smell it real quick. I think it's opened up a little bit.
I get strong convection sugar and confection.
I did
sugar.
this time now. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
I did in the
marshmallow.
beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It smells like pure sugar.
Yes. Almost like cotton candy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It smells like when you either first open a bag of fresh marshmallows, you're making s'mores or
Yep.
throwing
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
in
yeah.
hot chocolate, and you're just like, and put your face in it.
Yeah.
You
Just
get that,
puffy, soft goodness
or
of sugar.
the second you pull off that first piece of cotton candy.
I love that piece.
Piece is good for your soul.
Well, when they make it in that machine and it's, it still has a little bit of heat to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's still
just
fresh.
Just a little bit. And it only maintains that temperature for like
40 seconds.
If
that.
If that. And when they hand it to you, if you don't do basically like what Gabe was saying, just
Yeah.
That's
That's why it's so special though, because you only get that one.
yeah.
Because in
It's
the
like
second one,
chasing
it's
the
gone.
dragon.
Yeah.
You might
Yeah.
as well. You're just like, oh god, give me that second hit. You're never gonna get it again.
It's like getting that donut directly off.
Oh,
Yeah,
Krispy
straight out the
Kreme.
oven. They just
Right
glazed
off.
it.
But the donut will hold that for a few minutes,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
even up to 10. It's going to stay hot and fluffy for a while. But you imagine that, but you only have like 30 seconds to grab it.
Yeah.
That's that first
It's
bite
like
of
the
a.
Krispy Kreme shops. Did you ever get to experience that?
Yes.
Where remember their niche was when you walked in, you got a free donut immediately, and it was fresh. They were like literally you could see them floating as they were they were coming across and they were doing their little floating thing, and then the little glaze would come across them, and then they'd be like, "Would you like this?" Of course I would.
Fuck yeah.
No, get the fuck out of here.
You
I don't need that. I want that thing to cool down and get stale.
Yeah. Can we make this hard as a rock? Can we put it in a box in Tom Thumb for 2 weeks?
You know what I'm going to fucking call this? Hertz. I'm going to call it Hertz Donuts. There you go.
Can we add 19 pounds of fucking flour?
I know y'all are probably going to get hate right after that. Don't you fucking talk about Hertz Donuts that way.
It's not that good. It's so dense.
So fucking heavy.
I have
But
never
I think they're
liked-
learning their lesson.
Really?
There are some that they're actually making that are a little bit lighter, but we're supposed to be talking about whiskey and Loki, so never mind.
Whiskey and nerd shit. Donuts is nerd shit. Listen,
We can nerd out on some donuts.
I hate Dunkin' Donuts.
Aww.
I'm sorry.
I
you
can't
know
say I
what?
hate them. I never go to it.
I can understand the hatred for them from a lot of people.
But hey,
really
I
can.
love Krispy Kreme, and there's a lot of people that do not like Krispy
I
Kreme.
guess I'm a connoisseur of donuts.
I'm not
I
crazy
like
about Krispy
Hertz.
Kreme.
I like Dunkin' Donuts. I like Krispy Kreme.
Shipley's.
I like Sarah's Donuts.
A
Hey,
good
plug there
Shipley's
for,
Donuts
Flower
goes
Mound,
along.
Texas.
Yeah,
Nah.
Sarah's Donuts, a staple, Southern made.
Oh
Shipley's?
yeah.
Shipley's.
Did you say Shipley's?
I said Shipley's. Yeah.
You said Shipley's.
But
Yeah.
I forgot about Sarah's Donuts. The best thing about Sarah's Donuts in Flower Mound, Texas, is they have specialty donuts. It's not like
Right.
this chocolate donut tastes better than that chocolate donut. It's this peanut butter banana glazed donut
This
thing.
maple bacon
Elvis
donut.
Presley
Yeah.
died on the toilet eating this.
Yeah, legitimately. Which, have either of you tried Hypnotic Donut? I don't even know if it's still around, but it was in Garland.
No.
I never went there now.
I went one time and had what was called the Elvis Presley, and it was
Peanut butter. And
peanut
jelly.
butter, and on top of it stacked, literally vertical in a circle on top of it was banana, bacon, banana, bacon, banana, bacon, banana, bacon. And the entire thing was drizzled over with honey. Hands down the best donut I've ever had in my entire life. Never been back.
How about that?
I don't want to ruin it. Just
You'll never get that same donut twice.
nope. Just end it on a good note.
It's like when Pizza Hut used to make the hot pudding pizzas.
I don't remember those.
Did you eat any of those?
I've
No.
never had a hot pudding pizza.
Oh my god. Okay, so they did chocolate and vanilla. Yeah, I get it, Gabe. It sounds terrible, but when it
I'm
was
saying
first
little
offered up
snack
to
packs
me,
dumped out on
they
the
were
pizza
like,
crust.
"Would you like a would you like a pudding pizza?" And I was like, "I mean, I guess, whatever."
I don't like pudding.
I'm not really crazy about pudding either.
I hear you, but
But put it on a pizza.
I
put it
know.
on a pizza with cinnamon and sugar, and it was just like, oh my god, it's so amazing. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways,
Got it.
whiskey, love
Right
it.
now, between the two, it's not even close. 6 kills it.
Yeah, 6. 100%.
6 kills it. Which, did we go through where 7 was? I don't remember you. I know you told me 4
so
wins.
yeah, 4 leads the list. 7 came in bottom 3 every time.
It's
One
good.
list that made the very end. A lot of them were second to last.
Cognac is bold enough to really affect a whiskey. I think this white wine isn't.
Yeah.
Especially going up, what you said, a couple 12s and an 8.
Yeah. Well, and then when you read the front of the bottle, it goes into like the 3 different kinds of whiskeys that are in it, and only one of them was finished in the Salternus barrels. So the other
Which is why this
2
tastes more like whiskey with just a weird grape note in there.
Yeah. The other
'Cause this-
2 whiskeys in it were not aged in the Salternus
This just
barrels.
tastes like a pretty damn decent whiskey. There's nothing really special about it. There's a weird, for me, green grape note, a bright fruit
Yeah.
note.
I'm getting that now as it's had time to sit.
The
grape.
The grape.
I wasn't getting that in the beginning, but
And I'm sure that's strictly from the white wine, but it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
overpowering. It's just a little bit
it's
in there.
Slight.
That little like fruit, fresh, refreshing hint in there, but the rest tastes like a pretty standard whiskey.
Yeah.
A good one, like one if I found I would enjoy as long as I didn't have to overpay for it.
Both of them, good.
But that cognac finish,
Yeah.
with that marshmallow
Yeah,
and the
cotton
caramel.
candy.
Yeah.
So on the
The
front
giant
of the
donut
label,
conversation we just had.
It smells like Krispy Kreme.
I
It
know.
went from drinking. Think about that. This caused us to talk about donuts.
That wins every time.
That does win.
You caused me to do anything with donuts, you win.
So it's a 14-year-old. It says 14-year-old that works decadent with caramel, chocolate, and oak notes. The second is an 8-year-old that comes forward with a hint of butterscotch and sweet apricot.
Okay, I get those two. I don't get the first
And
one. at all.
finally, an 8-year-old that has been mellowed in Salternus wine casks from the Bordeaux region of France. So it was an 8-year-old whiskey,
the youngest whiskey.
the
got-
youngest one that was put in the Salternus casks. And then they had a 14-year-old that was heavy caramel, chocolate, and oak. And then another 8-year-old that was butterscotch and apricot.
That's out of this guy right here.
Yeah.
Our
No, that is
No, that's the lighter one.
the lighter
the
one.
wine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this one's a 14, dark with oak, leather, and tobacco. 2 8-year, toasty,
And I
warm with
think that's where
cinnamon,
the spice is coming
allspice, and nutmeg.
Never mind.
And 3, a 7-year-old, full of toasted caramel, honeyed raisin. There's your dark notes.
Yeah.
Then rested and mellowed in cognac cask. So the 7-year-old, it's the same thing on this one. The 7-year-old
they took the youngest one, and that's what they... Well, and that makes sense, too, because you're going to take the one that's got the least to it. It's got the youngest flavor profile. And they're going to take that one and extra age that in something that's supposed to really make it break out, where the other two could stand alone on their own.
Which you'll kind
I'm
of...
getting that tobacco though.
That's the old one. So
That makes sense.
you'll learn as you get into more. Yes, you favor Scotch, but you'll play with bourbons, especially
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'll make you. You won't have a choice being around me.
You will drink this.
You will drink the bourbon. You'll realize the older they get, you'll have a little bit drier, more of a kind of tobacco, leather, and oak flavor.
Like an old man's ass.
Whereas, kind of.
Yeah.
And whereas, like, say a 4-year to, what would you say, 10,
Yeah.
roughly, you'll have more of a vanilla,
Caramel,
brown
butterscotch.
sugar.
Sweeter up front, bolder and spicier in the back.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
And then anything younger than really 2 to 4 years.
Usually
you
light
get-
fruit.
Yeah, light fruit. You might start breaking into a caramel. And then you're going to have a weird, just not chemical.
Usually
Is that a lot of your Tennessees that you find?
some, yeah. A lot of craft. Like, for instance, the you really like Still Austin.
Yeah.
That's roughly
Oh
2
my
years.
gosh, that was good.
But
I mean, honestly.
it has a pretty noticeable cherry note to it.
Yeah.
You'll have that a lot. It's usually like vanillas and cherries will be in the younger
Right.
ones.
So,
and a lot of craft ones.
if your audience hasn't figured it out by now, very new to whiskey.
Yes.
But
But you're learning fast.
Yeah.
Got this dude hooked on.
Well,
He started quoting Whiskey Vault to me. I was like, I've seen that episode.
I didn't want to look like a deer in the headlights. I mean, like, know your product. Know what
That
you're
was
talking
me.
about. Don't be an idiot.
That
So,
was me.
But I guess there's no such thing as stupid questions. But here we go. So so wine connoisseurs,
Mm-hmm.
when they store their wines and keep their wines, as the wine ages.
Pull that closer. You have a calmer voice than I do.
As the wine ages.
Oh, God. Yes.
As the wine ages, meatballs. So,
Meatballs? I'm in.
no, so it gets more refined, more better, with age.
Not always true.
Well, I'm saying
In theory.
for the most part,
In general.
yeah.
That's
if you
For
look
that
at-
one wine in particular,
Yes.
it's going to get better as it
I
gets
mean,
older.
you have people that have their collections down in their basements. and
Yeah.
the climate is just. I mean,
Yeah.
they set these
They
bad
got, like,
boys. I mean, it's almost like cigars.
This is
You know
a
what I mean?
57 year. It
Yes.
tastes like a butthole, but I have it.
Yeah. I
This
mean,
is
I've got a couple of
ode to
those
shit.
too.
Oh, no, I have a
would love
couple.
this.
Yeah.
So, question.
Okay.
I know you guys said, unlike wine, you never store your whiskey bottle on its side. You always upright.
Yeah.
Correct.
So as time goes by, does your whiskey get better? Or since it's no longer in the barrel doing its thing, is what you have in that bottle all you're going to get 10 years from now?
Okay, so it depends. Yes and no. So
I don't like that answer.
I'll jump into this. You're not going to get any variation in a bottle. And that goes for wine too.
Because it's a bottle.
Because it's a
at
bottle.
the end of the day.
It's set. It's
Right.
there's
and understanding
nothing
that.
there's-
That's why I was saying no longer being in the barrel.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
you're
to
not going to change the flavor.
correct.
No.
There's nothing to interact with really other than the only thing that can mess with a whiskey. A whiskey can go bad or start to change or lose a little bit of alcohol content because alcohol goes up,
Right.
It evaporates.
Right. Which is
So-
what it's doing right now. The little
When you-
chemical reaction.
Yeah, when
as
you
soon
leave
as
it
you-
open, alcohol
Right.
is leaving it. That's why here in a minute when we smell these again, we got more sugar.
Exactly.
We'll do it again. We might get more raisins or something. But now, if you look over at Blake's
Illustrious collection.
collection, he's got some bottles that have less than half. Now, if he does that and he's drinking them a lot and regularly,
Yeah.
air's going in and out, that's going to change it. And if you do that a lot over a long period of time,
Slowly sip on them.
It-
Give them time to breathe. Give them
it
time
will.
to change.
If
Yeah.
you leave it
Like
in too
basically
long,
what we're doing right here.
kind of. If you
Okay.
leave it too long, like the Angel's Envy second shelf on the left, that's a mostly empty bottle.
Yeah.
If he doesn't touch that for probably another year, it's gonna
gonna go
be a
bad.
little bit different. The whiskey
gonna
can,
what?
it
What
can
did
go
you
It
bad.
can go bad, yeah.
The whiskey can.
The other thing that can go wrong is it's recommended, especially for bottles that don't have synthetic corks, the ones that have actual corks,
Yep.
for 30 minutes every 6 months, flip your bottles upside down and re-moisten that cork.
Gotcha.
Because if it dries
Dries
out,
out.
it can crack, and then it's just oxygen seeping in and out.
Huh.
And then you lose, like I say again, alcohol rises, so it can rise, go right out through that crack. Because I had a Buffalo Trace, had a 1 3/4 liter bottle, so big ass bottle.
Right.
It's got a regular cork. Well, it's a big ass bottle. I'm not gonna go sit it, flip it for half an hour. So when I first started drinking it, it was sweet, it was nice, it was awesome. I went back to it just randomly one day, poured a glass. It was the spiciest whiskey I've ever had in my entire life. And it was because the cork went bad.
Really?
Yep.
That's interesting. How can you tell, as someone new to whiskey, how can you tell if your cork has gone bad? Other than, I mean, obviously there's the visual cues.
Mostly visual cues.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you could
If you're like thinking, if you're thinking you go to pour a whiskey one day and it has a different specific taste to it, like
right.
all of a sudden it tastes like you dropped a pancake in a pile of dog shit. Your cork went bad.
Yeah.
No, it's just this tastes fucking weird. In his case, this is really spicy. It doesn't have any of the creamy notes of Buffalo Trace. It honestly tastes like I'm trying to drink a bunch of fucking cinnamon or something.
Okay.
Something must be weird. You kind of, how long have I had the bottle?
Right.
How
What about
low is
temperature?
it?
What about temperature?
Heat will evaporate alcohol.
I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody wants to store their whiskey in like 90 plus degrees environment. But being in Texas, and for instance, in the Gar Bar that I'm wanting to create,
Room temperatures?
yeah,
That's room temperature. So in the 70s, essentially.
Okay.
And luckily, you'll be in a garage bar, but you generally want to avoid direct or really even indirect sunlight.
well, that's I plan on keeping most of my supply in its canisters,
Yeah.
if they come in a canister.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean. Anyways, sorry, just a few questions.
Nope.
No.
Absolutely. Loki.
Loki
was fantastic.
It was so good.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
I liked it a
You
lot.
loved every minute of it. There wasn't a single thing that you were like, ugh.
Nope. Mostly because between me and you, I'm not looking to attack anything early on. I'm like, okay, where are you getting me?
Yeah.
What's the goal here?
I am the pessimist when I.
You're pessimist
watch.
early, whereas
Yes.
I am waiting for the journey.
Right.
I understand there's a road to get to the Big Bang.
Yes.
You are like, nope.
Well, this sucked.
What are you trying to sell me?
Yeah.
I'm not buying that.
Yeah, you're defensive early. It's like you're
Only because the environment
you're-
has created it. You know what I mean? I used to.
That's
I
fine.
Used to be entertained, like to be entertained.
No, he didn't. He's always been this way.
No. When I took you and we went and watched, and you were a little kid, and we watched, freaking Matrix. I love that shit. I loved it. You remember that?
Vaguely. We
Vaguely.
went and saw the third one.
Yeah.
Or the second one. Me and you went and saw the second one.
Was it the second?
Because I saw the third. No.
No,
it
it
we
was
saw
the
the third
one
one.
where they were
Yeah.
going down through yeah.
See, that was cool.
Yes.
The movie was dumb, but that was cool.
Entertainment. John Wick. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Love
God.
all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Entertain me. Don't preach to me. Entertain me.
But
That's
you're scared of medium. You're scared and on defense of John Wick movie. You don't really care if there's a checkbox. You're like murder. Whereas Disney,
I don't mind a
you're
checkbox if it's building
if it
upon a
makes sense.
character.
No, I
You know
understand.
what I mean?
But you're more on guard for that in anything Disney because
I
of
would
who's
agree with
running
that.
it.
I would
Yeah.
agree with that.
And me,
And see, that's what the
I don't care. I will literally, I will watch everything with an open mind, and once I get the end, I'll be like, Captain Marvel is dog shit.
He's always like, I don't care, take my money.
100%.
I would say,
Yeah.
Gabe, what did you think of this? I don't care, take my money.
Like, do you really think this is going to be good?
You really?
Don't fucking care if it's going to be good.
I'll find out.
I'm
Take
going to find
my
out.
fucking money.
I'm going to,
And
yeah.
I'm like, all right. I mean, they're doing the same thing for me. I mean, I'm like, I'm paying Disney. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
100%.
The other night when I watched it, I was like, and you got my money. You know what I mean?
So, I loved everything about it, mostly because I see what they're going to set up, and they're probably going to set up something so much more epic that will tie into such greater things. But we'll get there. What did you not like about it? Since you have reservations.
There's really only two things that I did not like about Loki.
Okay.
Only two. For starters, let me just say my rating of the show on a scale of 1 to 10 was a 9.
Same.
Yep.
I really enjoyed the show.
And the only way you're getting a 10 is in game.
There was only
So.
two that I liked. Two things that I disliked. I did not like.
And I'm going to argue with you.
I did not like the female
The
person of color Minuteman that smacked Loki across the face and did the whole and you're feeling this at one. What was it?
I think it's
The
1/16.
1/16th of it.
Of the speed, and I'm like, dude, he's the god of mischief. I mean, he's an Asgardian god, and this woman just took a stick.
If you
and
didn't
was
know,
like,
he told you multiple times in the
Oh yeah,
episode.
he did during that exact time frame.
I
Yeah.
am a god, and I just, man, Loki is one of my favorite characters of all time.
For a lot of
and
people.
I look at Loki as, honestly, even though Hulk called him a puny god,
Puny God.
and smashed the shit out of him, I have a lot of reverence for Loki and just his power and his omnipotence and just the thing.
Getting
that he
excited
is.
to fight this.
So
Cause you're waiting for the butt.
yeah.
No, it's just,
So I didn't like the fact that, I mean, here's Oompa Loompa coming out with the stick and goes, "Meh, I'm gonna hit you," and I was like, oh, come on. I'm
Okay.
like, seriously. So you got Big Girl.
Okay.
The other thing I
no. I don't want to lose my train of thought. I'm getting warmed up here. All right. Give him a jump rope. Put my gloves on. Yeah. Okay. So the purpose of that, and something that they actually touched on, that Owen Wilson, who played that role perfectly of Mobius,
Yeah.
he was great.
Yes.
His dynamic with Loki's kind of overbearing dryness works. It's great. Now, she walks in and he's running his mouth about how grandiose he is because again, at this point, he has yet to experience the humbling situation of losing his mother, getting closer with his brother, and then
Yeah, because we're getting Avengers 1 Loki.
exactly.
He
Still
hasn't seen everything that happened after that.
he's
Right.
still on his
If you're
pursuit.
looking at the timeline.
Yes, he is still on pursuit of grandiose endeavors.
I am a god.
He is a god, and he keeps telling you. He immediately jumps on the rock to tell these people who have no idea what the fuck he is.
And he's speaking English,
That
which
he's-
I thought that was funny.
He's burdened with glorious purpose.
He's in the Gobi Desert.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
speaking English, and they're like, "What the
What the fuck?
fuck, dude?"
Why are you here?
So he's showing, like, I believe I'm here, and like you're saying, like you like him because you believe he's here.
Yeah.
And they need to put him in his place early in the show to set the tone of he is out of his element. And this show, we thought it was going to be WandaVision. We thought it was going to be Falcon and Winter Soldier. This show is going to be the one that actually sets the tone for the rest of the MCU. And it's shown in that where she walks up, you're nobody. It's shown when he realizes his pursuit of power is nothing once he sees all the Infinity Stones in a fucking drawer. And when Owen Wilson's talking to him and saying, you have these grandiose ideas that you're entitled to rule. One, what are you going to rule? King of Space? That sounds awful. Two, your entire story is about you getting beaten up and defeated to make other people great.
Yeah. And all you've done is made yourself weak and miserable.
Exactly. So it sets a tone of him being out of sorts and not equal in power to what he's dealing with the TVA. And it takes him a while to realize because he keeps barking at different things and they keep throwing him around and getting him all like mixed up and confused in this weird interdimensional DMV of a situation.
But it seems like it's one protagonist, and then that was the Minuteman that was like, I'm like, if you
But
okay,
see,
here's
that-
the thing.
that didn't
Look at
bother
all
me.
the other Minutemen. I'm just like, really? I'm like, you don't even look like you would pass the physical agility test. I mean, like, I'm just being real here. I'm like, seriously. I'm like, I'm supposed to take this character seriously.
She was
that she's gonna
grandfathered
be able
in.
to- I guess so. That she's gonna smack the God of Mischief across the face.
No, I
did like the fact
full
where-
on believe that
where
she
he
would
was
smack
doing
the
the
God of
time-
Mischief.
where he was doing the time deviation on here. Stop it!
stop
Stop it!
But again, that smack, it sets the tone of her character being incredibly low patient. She just wants to disappear everybody. I forgot what the word was. Reverse? Clear? Delete,
I think.
reset.
Yeah.
Reset's the word.
That's it.
She just wants to reset everyone
I
and
wanna
move
reset
on.
'em.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always want to reset them. We don't need to reset everyone. Yeah.
You think it's gonna do you any good talking to him?
She sets doing that right out of the gate sets the tone of she has no patience. She doesn't give a shit. She's just trying to reset everybody,
Yeah.
and it creates that disconnect between her and Loki.
Right.
That little conflict in episode 1 to make it fun.
Yeah.
That you're probably not going to revisit a whole lot throughout the rest of the season.
I'm just looking at all these little time nerds. I guess I have bias because I'm like I'm Team Loki, and I'm like y'all are making him look like an idiot. I'm like he's not an idiot.
That's the goal,
you know
though.
what I almost felt like? I'll tell you what, Mister. Oh, you pessimistic, negative. I can tell you what I was thinking all over again. It's Luke Skywalker sucking on green milk again, all over again. I'm like, here's Loki, freaking badass, and I'm like,
But they're showing you that he actually never was quite what he portrayed himself to be.
Yeah.
He was never actually as badass as he
if we're
wanted to.
setting it up to believe that the TVA is the omnipotent dominance
Not
of
even that.
the known
It-
universe, I guess.
One, yes, showing how powerful that place is over,
So we got 3 lizards that are in charge of everything.
which is fantastic.
I
will not follow
that.
these.
Does no
Yeah.
one say, So, okay, why did the dinosaurs get killed off on Earth? Man?
Yeah,
Yes.
it was him saying, "I'm not going to be at the whims of
The
any
lizard
lizards
people shall rule the earth
of
now.
these lizards." But it, and again, what Owen Wilson said about that's never been you. You've never been the strong guy, and he even owns it when he finally breaks down and is like, "I don't like hurting people, but it's part of the illusion that I have to do for the weak to appear strong." He's like, "Oh, the battle for control." So he's never been this big badass. He's been this manipulative little weasel this whole time that we all love.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely love. Like,
Yeah.
Loki is amazing. I'm going to have a Loki helmet tattoo because the character's fantastic. Mostly because Tom Hiddleston made that character way more than it was even in the comics.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he
Oh,
was...
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That right there, if you want to talk about casting, I mean, they nailed it. Just like they did.
I mean, they nailed it with every character. The exception of maybe 1 or 2. With the exception of maybe 1 or 2. Or 3.
I'm trying to think. I'm like, man, maybe not all of them. I mean, they did recast the Hulk.
That was Edward
There were
Norton's fault.
reasons.
Yeah.
Edward Norton kept trying to rewrite all the scripts that he was on.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, shocking. If you didn't know, here's a weird connection. I wrote a note about it, but I'm going to fuck this up. This show was written by one of the writers of Rick and Morty.
What?
You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
And Chris loves Rick and Morty.
Now I'm an even bigger fan.
Yes.
Because I fucking love Rick and Morty.
Yeah. So this was
Man,
written. He
That is
was
such a good cartoon. If you haven't watched Rick and Morty, then get some whiskey and go
watch
Rick
Rick and
Yeah.
Morty.
The
If-
drunker you get, the better that fucking show will be.
As with most shows.
Either Balvenie is a good choice.
Yes.
But yeah, it's written by one of the writers for Rick and Morty. He also penned Doctor Strange 2: Multiverse of Madness.
Okay.
They keep referring to kind of the Citadel, which is a direct kind of reference to a Rick and Morty episode about them being in a Citadel.
Yep.
That is actually a reference to an actual Marvel situation. It's a fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. It is
So they go from Loki to Rick and Morty back to Marvel.
Marvel. Yes.
Nice.
All done by the same writer.
Okay.
Yeah. There was notes to that. It's good.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab another glass actually when we bust out the Bukanaka Kanas.
Boonaban.
Oh yeah, the Boona bag.
Oh yeah, we're gonna drink this later. This is another $20 bottle. It's Boonenhaben.
Actually, that one's only about 50 to 60 bucks.
That's not bad.
That one's not terrible.
Yeah, that's not terrible. That's actually not
For 2020, 2021, that's about middle of the pack.
not bad.
Yeah. 12-year Isla. We're
Yeah.
excited to hit that one later.
Yep.
It's going to be so good. Boonenhaben.
Gutenberg.
So the TVA kind of exists in its own realm, which is why stuff like the Thanos snap doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and...
That's where I was kind of calling bullshit on this thing. That's where it was hard for me to grasp the reality of the TVA because of, Mr. Snapper himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, come on. I'm like, and I know what you're fixing to say. Well, the Infinity Stones and all that. And I was almost offended a little bit by that. Yeah, I'm going to say that word. Meh. I was a little offended by that.
The snowflake over here is offended.
My name's Karen. So, it was a little bit of a slap in the face. I mean, come on. Some people are out there with me on this one.
I'm actually with you on this one.
The stones.
No.
I was
The
like,
stones
I'm
in
like,
the drawer.
And the smart ass was like, some people even use them as paperweights. And I'm like, wait, Feige literally built a dynasty on these fucking stones. And now here comes the TVA, and they're just like, oh, they're paperweights.
Okay,
we actually get a lot of these in.
Okay.
Come
Okay.
on.
But hang on. Let me make my point before you make your point.
Okay. I'm getting
So-
excited. Shit.
We had a main character, a main character and a B grade character, Gamora and Black Widow, die because of the stones.
Yes.
All 23 movies, at the end of the day, are based
on
around
the
these stones.
Yes. And then here,
The two biggest movies, Infinity War and Endgame, are about the stones.
The stones.
This whole TVA is about, this wasn't supposed to happen, or this is allowed to happen because this is the destiny it's supposed to happen in.
Right.
Timeline.
This is the timeline. So
And I
you're
can get
saying the
on board with
timeline
that.
is Thanos was supposed to get all the stones and snap.
Yep.
And then 5 years later, this is predetermined.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange said there was like 12 million options.
That's what's 14.
What did
14
they
million
call it?
options.
What was the official title that they used for when the blip or whatever it was
Yeah.
called? Whenever
The snapshot.
everybody came back.
Snapshot.
So biblical. And the Lord spoketh on the 12th day, and,
And he
snappeth,
said, should have went for the
shalleth,
head.
happeth you, not returneth.
But so then to end my point, does that mean that everything we're gonna see going forward from here is gonna make the Avengers of the past look like just little bitty people?
Footnotes.
Because they were destroyed by these things that are now paperweights.
They trivialized the stones, man. That's the problem I had with the show. I texted back. There was 3. I don't like how they disrespected Loki. I'm not on board with the Minuteman who doesn't even look like she can pass a physical agility test. And the disrespect of the stones. I'm like, come on,
Okay.
man. You can't
All right.
disrespect the stones
Gabe,
like
let's
that.
hear
Okay, your
rebuttal.
first two were kind of all in one.
They did it.
Disrespect the stones. Okay, so in the comics,
Okay.
after they did that,
After they did what?
the
snap?
Infinity Wars,
Okay.
they went into God. It was the Infinity something. I want to say Infinity Saga. Pause.
Hey, let's do get help. What? Get help. No. Come on, you love it. I hate it. It's great. It works every time. It's humiliating. Do you have a better plan? No. We're doing it. We are not doing get help.
Get help! Please! My brother's dying! Get help! Help him!
Oh, classic. Still hate it? It's humiliating. No, not for me, it's not.
Action.
All right. So while you're pouring, while you're pouring the Bunaban,
Bunahaben.
I like that. Oh, sailor.
little sailor. So while you're pouring that, I'm going to rebuttal. Pineapple under the sea. Bunaban.
Who's drunk as a fish?
Enforcement.
Bunahab.
so-
Bunahaben. I'm sorry.
Bunaban.
You can definitely tell a different energy in the beginning of the podcast.
There's alcohol
They're like,
involved.
did they just fucking put a SpongeBob tune to
To a scotch.
You're goddamn right,
Scotch Bob.
we did.
Scotch
Scotch Bob. Scotch Bob is about to be a fucking
Drunk
mascot.
pants.
Scotch Bob drunk pants.
Scotch.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so your Infinity Stones becoming irrelevant.
Or trivialized.
Trivialized.
Yes.
Yes, and that's the point. Following the Infinity Gauntlet issue. Okay, that was what it was. It was the Infinity Gauntlet with Thanos, and then afterwards they followed up with something larger, bigger, more daunting with Infinity Wars, which brings in Adam Warlock and a whole bunch of other things. That's an entirely different conversation, but it created a bigger threat. So, if the Infinity Stones going in to this next phase after Endgame is still your biggest threat, we've played that game before. You don't have something new. You don't have that new threat, and every threat has to be bigger, has to be worse, has to be more terrifying. Plus, that scene alone changed. There was so much character development for Loki in this.
In
this
that 6
one
minutes
episode, and particularly that when he sees that he was the reason his mother died, and then when he sees that Thanos was
when
the
he
one.
sees what his future was going to be.
Yeah, and how it played out, and he knows who he really is, which is why he came clean on. I don't like killing people. I don't like hurting people. I have to because of who I am and how I grew up.
Yeah.
I have learned that I have to do that. But his
Loki likes killing people.
it,
That was the one thing I was like, come on. What is this? Fucking campfire moment?
No, but not really. Like, you look at his character development in the MCU prior to this, yeah, he was that guy early on, but he wasn't that guy in Dark World. He wasn't that guy in Ragnarok. He wasn't that guy. Well, I mean, he got choked to death.
But that was later down the timeline.
Correct. He wasn't that guy. He showed to be that guy, and he explained why. He's like,
Right.
I have to do that because it creates more power of control for me as being the weaker human, because I'm not my brother. But that scene, we're coming off of Endgame, which is, the Infinity Stones are the greatest, most powerful things, like you guys said. Literally, the first 23 movies, or 22...
We're all about the stones.
First 22 movies are all centering around creating this big thing for the stones for Thanos.
Right.
That scene told you this is not the first 22 movies. So everything you were worried about then, the powers we're dealing with now are greater than that. Which is what Loki realized of, is this truly the greatest power? He realized how powerful the TVA was in its own realm, that Infinity Stones mean absolutely nothing. They have tons of them, which also shows the amount of different times people had tried to do shit and they corrected having all those Infinity Stones. Some people use them as paperweights.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, there's a whole bunch of shit that went on that you guys went and dropped your little thing on to erase time and reset the sacred timeline. So there's a whole bunch of stories of people doing shit that you guys grabbed and corrected.
The multiverse.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, but that one scene where there's some guys use it as paperweights tells you we're dealing with something bigger than an Infinity Stone. That's what you're signing up for on this new set of shows and movies for Marvel. Because if our new set of shows and movies for Marvel is everyone still fucking chasing a time stone, how quickly are you going to get bored of, yeah, I get it. We've seen this.
I get that, and I agree. But I think the thing for me was, it was like, it just made the past 23 movies, it was like...
Insignificant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was nothing. You're about to see something cool. That was nothing.
So,
at the same time, to your point, that means, okay, I'm super fucking excited to see what I'm going to see now.
Hey.
But it's
But
like,
that's
now,
everything.
everything that I saw that I thought was epic.
Quote Gabe from earlier, take my money. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
going to continue to
Take
watch.
the money.
That just means
You
it's
know?
going to get bigger and better.
I'm
which
already
awesome.
interested. I'm just saying from a fan's point of view, some of the antagonistic things that may have like pricked the old fan heart a little bit was, I guess the disrespect shown for Loki.
I understand being champions of everything you just saw. I mean, we built.
By the way, I did rate the show a 9.
You did.
Okay.
Yeah. No problem. I'm not hitting you for that. I fully understand of being champions for everything we've seen in the first 23 movies. I mean, we've made a fucking podcast about it.
Yeah.
But I understand having that, being at the front of the line, holding the flag, and then being like, all that you're in front of, just set it aside because you're on to something else. And you're like, wait, what the fuck? I got to do what? But this is great. And you're like, we're on to something bigger.
Yeah.
When you're a kid and you're playing with Power Rangers and it's the greatest fucking thing on the planet, when you get a little older and you have a scope of something more important, that served its purpose, but you got to grow on to something bigger.
Yeah.
You got to develop and realize that there's bigger responsibilities. There's more than just this Earth, that planet, this Titan, that other thing.
There's the other thing.
There's a multiverse.
Yeah.
That right there, you just nailed it on the head. That was the one thing that I was confused about, I guess you could say, as a fan. I was like, okay, so if the TVA...
Mm-hmm.
I haven't tried it yet.
This is an Isla, so this is going to be Petey or Smokier.
It's Petey.
I love Smoky
If it was a little
whiskeys.
rascal, it'd be Petey.
So, that was the one thing as a fan that I was confused about, because I knew that Marvel lore there was a multiverse.
God damn it, that's good.
You like Petey.
Scotch.
I love
Scotch.
I love Smoky.
You love Smoky, yeah.
I love smoky whiskeys. Like smoky Scotch.
Like you're at a campfire.
Legitimately.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm actually, which is weird because I didn't
Sweet
think
notes
I would.
to this at all?
Yeah.
So kind of like
Grab your paper towel. wipe it out.
I'm fixing
Or here, I got another clean
Or
one
do you want a
right there.
regular rocks
Let
glass?
me get a clean glass.
We'll get you a rocks glass.
That way I ain't gonna wipe that mess.
So jump back to
The confusion of the multiverse
yes.
is that with the TVA, the three lizards. Sorry, that's I'm just gonna
Timekeepers.
Yeah.
lizard people. The three lizards basically unified the timeline.
Correct.
Correct. That's the whole purpose of the TVA is to correct deviations.
Correct. Variants, as they like to say.
Exactly. Variants. I'm sorry if we're using technical terms, but so
Hey, you had your nerd moment. Get out of my way.
I did. Look at me being the hypocrite.
Yeah.
So,
You had your Star Wars time. Now
I did.
Now it's mine.
Nerd. So asking as I guess a base fan, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I'm talking to a enthralled, deep-seated fan who knows
Deeper.
everything. Yes. So the multiverse,
Okay.
it's solidified now and basically monitored and corrected all variants that may take place from the lizard people. So what about all of the comic books preceding this that talked about the multiverses? Like a prime example, Spider-Man and the multiverse. You know what I mean? So you're literally watching an animation that is diving into and telling a story about the multiverse and all the different Spider-Men, Spider-Women, all that kind of Spider-Pig. Exactly, thank you. That come from different multiverses. Now here's a storyline that we're following, which there was confusion in that. And then I'm like, okay, I thought there was a multiverse, and now the TVA is telling me that there's not a multiverse. But the multiverse is being controlled by the TVA and keeping it from becoming basically a multiverse.
They told you that a multiverse happened.
There was a war, apparently.
Which references Secret Wars.
Yes.
Which the Russo brothers have talked about. Kevin Feige has talked about. It is something on the scale so much larger than Endgame that it's not even close.
That's going to be eventually, say the first 23 was phase 1. They're going to have phase 2, 3, and 4, and then you're going to have
Secret Wars. 2, 4, 6, another 60 movies.
Take my money.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Take my money.
You get where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
No, but your next
To set up the next phase.
in theory, 20 movies.
Phase 2, I guess is what
Your
you
next
will call
8 years are leading up to Secret Wars, which brings in Doctor Doom, Fantastic Four, the X-Men. They all have a prominent thing, and the multiverse creates that. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more.
A little more.
Oh, I drank some. Need a refill.
Scotch.
But the multiverse creates that, and what this one episode of Loki did, we get to do what we did with Scarlet Witch and guess on everything.
And which character is Mephisto?
Loki's Mephisto. There was a devil. It's hilarious, but no.
It's one of the lizard people.
Your teeth are blue.
Which I wrote down. Do we think there is a significance to the gum?
No,
Or just a
it
thing?
can't be. They can't go that damn deep into this shit.
Don't you underestimate
I know,
Marvel.
right? The fucking gum. If you would have paid attention to the gum.
There's always something. But, so, you have Doctor Strange sequel is called The Multiverse of Madness.
Thank you.
So it doesn't stop.
Right.
The multiverse that they had before, they supposedly fixed with the three lizards
Right.
into one sacred timeline that they patrol and make sure everyone stays in.
Yeah. Because wasn't it? Help me out here, Mr.
This is
Marvel.
so
fan
good.
Extraordinaire. The Boonenhaben.
Bunaban.
The Boonenhaben is Boonen good. So, what movie was it where the monk, the she-monk, was...
Doctor Strange.
Yes, thank you very much. Where she basically did the little timeline, and she said, you can't have this.
That was in-game.
Yeah, it was Endgame when she was talking to Hulk.
Yep.
She
And
explained...
she explained right there. She even showed it. She said, if
You take this,
this
creates
this
this.
goes this, and she
into chaos.
shows, which I think that paid an homage to that movie when you saw the little cartoon creature that was creepy.
Played by Tara Strong.
Yes, very
Voiced
good.
by Tara Strong.
Very funny, very, very, very 50-ish, iconic, old
Yeah.
Americana-ish. You know?
I love the D&D
almost
from
like
hell.
the popcorn
Yeah,
theater.
that's what it
Yep.
reminded me of. Yeah.
Popcorn. You know, I was like, oh yeah, I'm want some
Go
popcorn.
into the snack bar.
Yeah,
Go
exactly, yeah.
into the snack bar.
Exactly.
Go
So,
into the-
with that being said, when I saw the animation talking about the timeline, immediately I thought back to that movie. And
Same.
that's when there was the confusion over, okay, is there a multiverse? Is there not a multiverse? And I knew that there was because they talked about the war, but again, my confusion fell back on Spider-Man and the multiverse. I'm like, wait, how is this happening?
Which is-
if there is a unified now timeline that is being controlled by the lizard people.
Which is so funny because there's different things, the Easter eggs. Last time you were here, you pointed out a really cool Easter egg for the first couple episodes of Bad Batch.
Yes.
The Easter eggs in this, and here's only two of them. One of them, when Loki finished out watching the film on where he dies,
Right.
and the film went out at the
Ticker
very
tape?
Yeah.
the ticker tape went.
I slow played it.
It said like Loki something something.
It said,
dash
Gate
it said
numbers.
the end, and it said Loki and then the last name that he's got now.
616,
Yes.
which is a reference to Earth 616 in the comics, which
I
is
thought Earth was like 999 or whatever.
no. Well, there's multiple. There is an Earth 616,
Okay.
and then
That's not our Earth, right?
no.
Our Earth is the 999 whatever the fuck. that
Comically
is.
speaking, 616 was not our Earth.
Right.
And then, but there's also one that said the timeline of Loki was like 1905 or whatever it was to 2099. That was on his paperwork. 2099 is a reference to a Marvel comic series, particularly Spider-Man 2099, Multiverse, Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, and X-Men had a really good run as a 2099 in the future.
I have that, by the way. Spider-Man
2099,
I have the first episodes.
first issue.
First issue, excuse me. Yes. I have Doom. I have Spider-Man. And what else? I have one more.
Yeah, 2099 was an entire run of all their characters. Kind of like Civil War had an
Yeah.
entire run of all the characters.
Yeah.
2099 was the same thing.
Yeah. So, okay.
That
Are they
and
saying
it's
that ticker tape where it gives the number, okay, of
616.
his Earth or his realm,
so
however you want to call that,
you
time.
you're bringing me back to where I was going.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So we're actually not seeing our timeline.
okay, so comically speaking,
Yeah, yeah.
616 was not our Earth.
Okay.
In the movies, and I don't have this confirmed, 616 actually is more our universe, and everything else is happening around it. So to your point, the Loki we're seeing is 616 Loki, which would be ours. Now, all these other people, at the end, spoilers, they say that Loki is the person they're tracking that's killing all their people. That doesn't mean it's Tom Hiddleston Loki. There is a female Loki going to be in this show.
There is going to be a female Loki, because if you look at it, which this is what a lot of people are like, yay, about. And I'm like, oh, come on. Let's just have a story here. Let's not politicize it. But in his paperwork, it did say under gender that he was fluid. So in his paperwork,
because
it
of
said,
this.
Right. So the Loki that they're tracking is a female Loki.
Is probably a female Loki.
I'm rolling the dice. I'm going to say is a female Loki.
And I agree with you. I agree with you,
It's
Jim.
going to be a female Loki.
I wish I could remember her name.
Which is in the comics.
It is in the comics. It's not.
So
they
it's
didn't
not
create
like
something.
they're going SJW on us or anything like that.
And look,
it's legit.
You make it good. I don't give a fuck what you do. Put a chimpanzee in there.
Exactly.
And I'll
Build the
fucking,
character.
Yeah, just make the character.
Make the character.
And honestly, that's not that
hard. Let me get invested as
with a female Loki.
fan.
Yeah.
Let me get invested. Introduce this character to me. Tell me why this character is here. Give a purpose for it. You know what I mean? And let this character develop along the way, and give me some investment as a fan. Dude, I think that's what all fans truly want at the end of the day. Give me something to get invested.
A whole bunch of rich, mostly white people sitting around a table thinking they know what's good for everybody. Fucking shit happens. Yeah. So, with that said, I think what's going to happen, to go ahead and jump into predictions on this shit, is...
The female Loki is from a different multiverse?
Is going to be from a different multiverse.
Okay.
She's fucking shit up. She shows Loki, hey, that TVA you're working with,
there's some fuck faces.
They're not the good guys.
Yeah.
Here's what they have done. They might be showing that they're saving the sacred timeline.
Yeah.
Look at these other timelines. Every time they drop one of these little time fixers, this is what's happening. And you see him sitting next to somebody looking over a New York that's been just obliterated and a couple other wasted lands in different places.
Right.
I think that's going to be part of the show where it's they come in contact with each other, and it's her showing him these timekeepers, this TVA.
We got to destroy it.
These are fuckheads.
Right.
These are killing people.
So Lokis team up together.
Which
That'd be
this was a stretch, but they show you know how the Loki symbol keeps changing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As a
synonym.
I was figuring that was different timelines.
Well, I think it was different universes.
Different
Lokis.
Yeah.
Different Lokis from different universes.
Kind of like the Spider-Verse, the Spider-Pig, the Spider-Girl.
And that's what the logo itself is for, completely different fonts, colors, everything.
It represents that there's different Lokis in this.
Yeah.
And not necessarily that, you're going to get to face an army of Lokis, but it's different Lokis.
Which would be badass, by the way.
Well,
yeah.
I won't say... An army of Lokis wouldn't be badass, but if you use it in a sense that, like, they collectively in different spots help each other to one goal. But if you have like an on your left moment of Lokis, I'm just gonna be like, no, pass. I don't need a freaking trench war of Lokis here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think it's gonna come out that the TVA, Mobius, and particularly the Timekeepers, they are actually the villains and antagonists in this whole show.
I'm down. That's badass.
That
I
shift,
hope you're right. That's a good lead to a storyline.
Isn't it though?
I agree.
Especially because you're gonna end the show, and it's not gonna, more than likely, bits and pieces of it may, more than likely it's not gonna lead into the next phase of movies. It's going to give you what the phase of movies is going to be about.
Hold on. You're getting ahead of me. Hold on, Blake.
He's got notes.
I got
Blake.
more.
We're not even on page 2 yet. It's front and back.
Front and back.
32 pages. Okay?
Front and back.
Go to the bathroom. Take a break.
Get another
pause.
drink. Get another drink. Intermission.
Just use the screen as a time. All right. Okay.
Okay. So let's say that I'm right.
Okay.
All right. I called different stuff with Scarlet Witch, called a couple things with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm calling this right. I'm far from alone in it. Most people actually think this. Let's say I'm right. And let's say he halfway succeeds. The Lokis figure out how to stop the TVA or disrupt
the
them
lizard people. I'd prefer to say
stop
the lizard people.
They stop the lizard people and in some form or fashion disrupt their control of the timeline
and completely fuck everything up. Like the God of Mischief should
do. Correct.
Yes.
So
thank
what
you.
does that leave you? What happens when you take away an authority figure? Things
Vacuum.
become what? They become
Chaotic.
madness.
Yes. I'm
Leading
down.
to the multiverse of madness. So,
Dun, dun, dun.
whatever they... My guess is
Yeah,
that the
yeah.
TVA is the antagonist. They figure out how to, not to defeat them, because people are going to want a Loki season 2, but to create some sort of issue with the continuum and creating a multiverse that leads directly into Doctor Strange. And because this is based on a Nexus concept, which is the ability to control time, there's Nexus objects like an Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
There's also Nexus characters like Scarlet Witch. Remember that last infomercial she had in her show was Nexus, the depression pill?
Yeah.
Well, that's because Scarlet Witch is a Nexus character, meaning she doesn't need an object because she can create, disrupt, and control reality to affect the flow of time. She by herself can change the flow of time and where it goes.
Huh.
And she is supposed to have a role in the multiverse of madness. Now it's less that she's the bad guy, more that I need, as Doctor Strange, a Nexus being to help
Correct all this.
control all this
Yeah.
chaos. And Multiverse of Madness is supposed to be a horror movie.
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
So you have those two with deep, dark... I mean, you're dealing with witchcraft here.
I can't wait till Halloween
Trying-
because we have to do a horror movie. Which will this be out in time for Halloween?
No.
Damn it!
No, it comes out. Was it November?
We got to do horror movies, but I'm not trying to.
Multiverse
take it.
of
Keep
Madness?
Going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Beginning of next year.
That's
Keep
right.
going. You're on a roll.
So you see how Loki is about to develop. You got so much character develop in the first one. Now you're going to have more plot develop in the next few episodes. He's going to be on the side of the TVA of, you're trying to track down this guy that keeps killing our team. He's killing the cops.
Yeah.
Well, then he finally meets up with the cops, or with the killer. Killer is him in different universes. They start explaining that, look, I'm not the bad guy. Think Captain America Winter Soldier. They finally meet up with Ginger terrorists, and she's like, I'm not the bad guy. They keep fucking with me.
Yeah.
Same thing with Loki. I'm not the bad guy. They keep fucking with me. This is what they're doing to the universe. It's not okay. We got to stop it. And Loki is like, oh, fuck, you're right. So eventually he comes around. Mobius is like, dude. And
He's
they,
like, wow.
wow. And then they go back and they stop him. But whatever they do creates a chain reaction, which opens up the multiverse.
Were
that
you
Dr.
doing Owen Wilson when you said "wow"? I'm sorry. I was in deep thought of Boonenhaven, and I'm not gonna lie, and I was just kind of zoning there for a minute, and then I heard "wow," and I was like, "Is that fucking Owen Wilson?" that you just
fucking Owen
did?
Wilson. Everyone does the Owen Wilson.
All right, I'm sorry. We're back.
And there actually is a video on YouTube somewhere of Tom Hiddleston doing a impression of Owen Wilson.
Really?
Yeah. He also does Alan Rickman. It's fantastic.
I've seen Turtles.
And
I should say, I'm sorry, Tortoise for you
Tortoise.
anal people.
Uh,
Tortoise that we're doing it.
So,
Going, wow.
big picture, if we want to conject for hope, and then you have Multiverse of Madness trying to create and control, which then opens up your Fantastic Fours with your Doctor Dooms, opens up a multiverse that created mutants. So you have a history of mutants in a different place that brings them in, all leading up across multiple movies to your Secret Wars that get you there. And I just broke down the entire next 8
20
years
My God.
of
Films
MCU.
I'll probably be dead by that time.
Probably. Let's see what else I got.
Loki's DB Cooper.
I thought that was cool.
That was fucking gay. I'm sorry.
No, I thought that was cool.
Did anybody
It
else?
was
think
weird
was
that they
gay?
threw that in there.
Fucking DB Cooper. I was like,
But okay,
seriously?
so one
Fuck.
thing that I thought about today when I was rewatching it earlier. So he's DB Cooper, right? So then it
Right.
goes back and he's like, see, you're not mischievous. You're just playing games. He goes, no, I lost a fucking bet with
Right.
Thor. Okay. The first time Thor came to Earth, he's like, oh, what is this? Oh, what is this? But he was able to challenge Loki to go to Earth and steal a bunch of money?
No. They had been to Earth before. They say it in the first movies of it's not like it used to be, where you go there and shoot some lightning and everyone worships you like a god.
Right. I do remember that.
Okay,
They
yeah.
were talking like back in the day, but Viking lore.
Viking lore.
You know what I mean?
Like they were back there in, Norway or wherever.
Yeah.
Sweden.
Yeah, but I think that's different than the time that D.B. Cooper was alive. I don't think we had paper money back.
I just wasn't
in the
buying
Norway.
the D.B. Cooper thing. I was just like, oh, God. Can we move along with the story, please?
I am just easily amused. I was like, sure, that's cool. I don't fucking care.
Oh, I liked it. I was like,
Yeah.
He's like, you're D.B. Cooper. I never saw that coming.
I'm not saying...
I think that's what sold it for me was Owen Wilson be like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. And I'm like,
Wow.
this is ridiculous. Wow.
Can't cross my leg here. This microphone's in the way. There we go.
I had that problem last week. So yeah, also time travel. You had the multiverse of madness. It immediately jumps into who was the last person to be able to figure out time travel or bring up time travel? Scott Lang.
Yeah, Ball Road.
So, and what did they use? They used the quantum verse. Or quantum realm, I'm sorry. That's what they call
Then
it.
we're getting Ant-Man Quantumania.
Quantumania, which is going to star Kang the Conqueror. That's going to be the main villain.
Yeah.
Who is a time traveler from the future. So this multiverse shut down the TVA will open up other things for them. Kang is supposedly also a descendant of Reed Richards in some capacity. At least it was in the comics, I believe. So there's a lot you can do there if you do exactly what I just guessed and no other way.
If you follow...
Kevin Feige, I hope you're listening.
Here's your Bible, Feige. Follow.
And that...
You should show them your fucking notes.
Front and back.
Front and back. And look, it's so meticulous.
I've actually...
Oh my God! Show more.
No, these
There's
are
more
old.
pages.
These are old.
Oh, open.
I've actually done different things that had way more notes.
Oh my
Some
God,
Scarlet Witch ones took a
I thought
couple
I was
pages.
a Star Wars nerd. No.
Yeah, get on my level.
Program. You're not even.
When
on
I
the
got to do
same
Star
level.
Wars, I bring you in because you're the only thing that can match this.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome.
But when it comes to Marvel or DC, good God, I went off for
Oh my
like...
God. Yeah. Hey, I was impressed. I was like, you won me over. I was sitting there and I had so many like things. I was kind of like, man.
With Loki?
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, let me
I was just
say
thoroughly
to the audience,
entertained the first time
if you
I watched
haven't
it.
watched it yet,
I loved it, yeah.
it's totally worth watching. And if you're someone like me who's like, is this gonna fucking hit check bags and all that kind of stuff? It does. It does. Okay, it does. However, good show. At the end of the look, in this day and age, what fucking entertainment factor is not gonna have a little bit of in there? So you're just gonna have to take it with a grain of salt.
Cultural
There you go.
conscience. Let's
There you
call it
go.
that. Cultural conscience.
You have to
Yeah.
look at the overall picture of what you're getting, and what I would say.
Oh, now he's looking at the overall picture. Fuck me.
You helped me.
You're welcome.
I feel
You showed
like
him the way.
I did.
I am the Padawan.
Hey, brother, have you heard the good news?
So Loki, definitely worth watching.
Oh, yes, watch it.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely worth watching. And
Join us on this adventure,
Yes,
please.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a
I
roller coaster. I think.
Honestly, this one's hard to screw up because of the cast you have, the story that's right in front of you, and look, Kathleen Kennedy's not involved, and no one from Warner Brothers is touching this.
So
It's got a lot of good things going for it.
success.
Like, yeah,
Success.
it's hard to screw
A
this
woman
up.
that can't pass the physical agility test, but other than that, it's good stuff.
Like you've never seen a fat cop before.
They shouldn't be cops.
I saw one walk up to a movie theater, just could barely get his
can I
pants
have-
under.
have some extra
Under the belly?
Under the belly. Like he was
a fupa.
and look, I'm sure he was a lovely human being, not one that you see on the news being a giant prick. He's a good dude, but you're stopping no crime. If I need to call
No.
someone, I don't want you to be the one show
he's
up.
gonna be like, "Hey, stop." Okay.
I tried.
I would take Queen Latifah over that.
Deep in the Equalizer. I know what you just did there because it's ridiculous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad
It's
you got
ridiculous. I'm sorry.
that. Yeah.
Give me a
So,
break.
but that is my rant that I was excited to go on of what I think, one, Loki could do, two, the MCU can do and might do of that Loki show.
I'm actually more excited after watching Loki than I was after watching WandaVision or
Agreed.
The Winter Soldier and
Falcon Winter Soldier.
and fuck
After watching all of WandaVision and all of Captain America, Winter Soldier,
America.
Yeah.
one episode of Loki, I'm like, oh my god, the opportunities.
Yeah.
And none of them have to do with Mephisto.
Thank God.
Even though when they showed the devil, I was like, Loki is Mephisto. Which is so damn funny. All it was a silver-tongued devil, which references Loki being quick with words.
Yeah.
That's all it
all it
was.
was.
That's it.
Your thoughts on Boone and Hobbin?
I fucking love it.
It is really good. So my personal preference, I still take the Balvenies over it.
Nope, I would take this all day. I'm into the bolder, when it comes to Scotch, bolder, smokier, more flavor, because I prefer bourbons. I need a grander flavor. But this Boone Hobbin.
Boone and Hobbin.
Boone Hobbin.
Boone
It's
Hobbin.
fun to say.
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
can't tell.
boy. Even though they're like, it's fucking Scotch. Why are you talking German?
So honestly, I think, and I can't do a side-by-side, in order of what we did today,
This is the 14, 12, the Boone and Hobbin.
it's going to be Pack 6.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're going last to first?
From best to first.
From my favorite to least favorite. Pack 6 is king for me. The marshmallow on
Cotton
the nose
candy.
and the burnt caramel and the candy on it. The Boone Hobbin's going to be 2. It actually beat 7 for me. Now because
it does.
because I prefer bourbon over Scotch, 7 becomes 3, and then those two are tied for 4 because honestly, you're splitting malt at that point.
Yeah.
But that's my take.
I would say...
Buy any of them.
Oh, yeah, they're all good.
They're all delicious. You're not going to miss.
Honestly, damn near almost in the order.
I'm about to say it's
From me
basically in order right now for me.
It's almost in order. Swap the
last two?
Yep.
So
and,
for
and we
you,
go in order.
It goes Boone Hobbin,
Yep.
14,
It's funny.
12.
Your order goes
Pack
this way. My order goes this way.
You're not
Because I'm more bourbon.
Yeah, but you
Right.
And I like the Balvenies more. I really like the Boone Hobbin, but I
Right.
like the Balvenies more.
I love Scotch.
Yeah.
Scotch.
I like smoky Scotch.
And this, they said, the Boone and Hobbin is a good entry into your peaty, smoky scotches. They said if you're looking to really introduce yourself without getting slapped in the face with some charcoal.
Speaking of which, I'm going to buy a Lefroy 10 cask strength. I've seen that on a lot of lists. It has all the things that I want in my life.
I want to be here for that tasting.
Done. But since this is your kind of first jump into Isla, and you see what the campfire flavor is.
I like it. It was my number one.
Yeah. Lagavulin, you will love.
Okay.
And I've got a couple. I got a Lagavulin 16, which is on number one on almost damn near every list we read on scotches.
Yeah.
It is
whiskey.
Lagavulin 16 is the Macallan 18.
Yeah.
Just
For Islas.
yeah.
And then I got the Offerman. We just did it a couple weeks ago.
The 11.
Offerman 11 finished in Guinness. I showed you that earlier.
Right.
You can try that as well.
So a little rewind back on what we were talking about earlier. So when you were keeping your whiskey, are you telling me that honestly whiskey, and I know you people out there are going to laugh on this one, oh well, but I guess what I'm asking is, are you saying that really whiskey is not something that you want to age or keep for a while? Whiskey is something that honestly you want to enjoy, you want to drink it, you want to work through it, and you want to move on to your next bottle. It's not something that you want to say, hey, I bought this like 6 years ago. This is my special, fucking laggy, Bubenhaben,
Yeah.
Although I know you wouldn't keep Bubenhaben like for 6 years. So, but you get what I'm saying. Like if you like, for instance, when we went and there was some of them high end bottles that were like freaking. The store that Gabe just took me to, there was some top shelf whiskeys up there that I could see that were over $2,000.
A couple of them were, yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, as just your standard grade A guy, that middle of the road. If I bought a $2,000 bottle There are
I ain't
very
never
few
opening that shit.
times
Yeah.
I would break that shit out. But now I have some.
You gonna need on them?
Yeah.
Well, I have some reserves in the back of my mind. Is like, well, fuck, dude, is this really something that is worth keeping for a time period?
So we have an answer for you.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm waiting.
So, one, if you haven't watched it yet, there's a documentary on Hulu called Neat.
Okay,
Watch that.
It's about bourbon, not Scotch whiskey.
It's about
On
bourbon
Hulu?
on
On
Hulu.
Hulu.
called Neat.
Neat.
Okay,
So, neat.
Monty Python.
They have a lot of distillers, bourbon lovers in general, whiskey lovers in general. They have, the biggest thing is they have a guy from Buffalo Trace, where Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, Blanton's, E.H. Taylor, all that is made. Mm-hmm. He's the guy that does their tours. His father and grandfather both worked at the distillery as well. His father, I think, poured the 5 millionth barrel they had. Huge celebration. And Pappy Van Winkle reached out to his dad. I go, hey, congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment. Here's a Pappy 23. Which, in the bourbon land, it's the unicorn of unicorns, the end-all, be-all. Flavor-wise, people have their
23
reserves.
meaning
23 years old.
the number of years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, like a Pappy Van Winkle 10-year, like if you were to buy one at a store right now in Texas, where we are, you're probably gonna pay at least $1,000 for that. That's a 10-year. So this is the 23-year. So one, you're probably never even gonna see one anyways, let alone be able to have the opportunity to buy a bottle.
I have seen one in Texas. In Allen.
Oh yeah.
They
What
have
point
one.
system though? Was it 10,000 points?
It was 10,000 points.
Yeah. So you gotta spend $10,000 to
So
buy
the
it.
points that I got today, it's essentially, if you're lucky, about $1 a point.
Oh, okay.
So you have to
So
spend
you have
$10,000
Earn 10,000 points
to have the
be able to buy it.
opportunity to buy that. If that tells you anything about the bottle.
Okay.
Anyways, so the story goes that his dad, and his brother get together, and his dad's like, you know what? Fucking bust out that 23. He's like, okay, yeah. So he gets 3 glasses, pour, and then they're all sitting there sipping on it. He takes the glass, puts the cork back in, and puts it back up on the shelf. And his dad's like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, no, get that shit back out here. We're finishing that bottle.
Oh shit.
And he's like, Dad, he's like, this Pappy 23, like, you don't just kill this bottle. You know, this is something you want to savor for years and years to come.
This is really rare.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you don't want to just kill. This isn't like, you know, a Bullet or an Elijah Craig, like a $30 bottle. This is something that you want to make last.
right.
And his dad's like, no.
Would be my thought process.
Yeah. He goes, no. Fuck that. He goes, so over the course of the next 3 hours, we killed that bottle. He goes, and we laughed our asses off. We talked about shit that we did when we were kids we didn't think our dad knew about, and our dad was telling us shit that he didn't think we knew about. Dude, had the time of our lives. We all knew it, remembered it. One of the greatest nights we've ever had. Because within 6 months, both of them were dead.
Because his dad had cancer, which is why he came back, and his brother was taking care of him.
Yeah.
So he came back to join the distillery as a promise he made to his dad.
To be with the family.
And when his brother got sick, he needed to come help take care of both of them.
Yeah.
Within 6 months, they were both dead. One of the things he said was, there will always be another bottle of anything,
Right.
rare or otherwise.
Right.
Yes.
What isn't always going to be around
It's
are the
time.
times you have
Yeah.
with your people.
So, buy the bottle, enjoy the bottle.
Yes.
Don't work.
Don't waste
don't
it.
work
And
at
the other thing
building
is-
a collection and I've had this for fucking 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah, like
And the other thing is, you don't shoot any of this. You don't shoot Scots. You don't take it as a shot.
Right.
Because it's meant to be sipped and enjoyed with the people around you.
yeah. Don't waste it. Don't go home and drink it by yourself. Yeah, have a glass of something, but if you got a good whiskey like this Pact 6 or Pact 7 that we can't get again, like the Michter's Toasted or Michter's 10-year barrel proof whatever that we can't get regularly here, don't waste that drinking it on a Tuesday because you had a rough day.
Yeah. That's
Get
when
your friends over.
your dad comes in town, your brother comes in town, you got a fucking reunion of the guys from high school, you bust out that bottle and you fucking kill it.
And you have a great time. You guys get drunk. You fuck around. Man, did you kill that bottle? Fuck yeah, we did.
Goddamn right.
And
we
we
made
did
fucking
it this
jello
night.
shots out of it.
I like that. That's good stuff.
That's how once we saw that was the turning point on us for drinking bourbon. But
Yeah.
once we heard that line, understanding, because some people buy stuff and never open it.
Yeah.
I got a guy I work with, his best friend was a doctor, and He sent me pictures of his house, and he had walls of 10, 15, 21, and 23 of these Pappy Van Winkles that he's talking about.
Yeah.
And George T. Staggs, which are really high-end bourbons.
Eagle Rare 17s.
Stuff like that. None of them are opened. None of them are touched. He didn't want pictures taken of them. Are you looking to resell these as an investment? Because you can do that. People do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Are these decorations? Because these are really expensive decorations.
Well, it's like people that collect like action figures.
Yeah.
Never open them.
Comic books, never touch them.
Yeah.
Same thing. For us, I'm not buying a bottle I'm not willing to open with you guys.
Yeah.
Ever. If it's thousands of dollars, I agree. I don't want to fucking touch that. I paid
know,
thousands of
right?
dollars on this liquid.
Yeah.
I don't want that. Because I don't want something that I'm not willing to enjoy with all you guys at my house. Fucking around, having conversations like this, whether a camera's on and you guys are listening or it's just us. I never want to have something that I'm not willing to pour out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok more than anything now.
Talk.
Yeah. Get on the TikTok, guys. We have TikTok now.
And YouTube. Whiskey and nerd shit for all of it. Sometimes the one is in place of the I and shit.
Yeah.
But I'm
on
not gonna.
Instagram, it's a 1.
Everything else is I.
Everything else is an I. So Whiskey and Nerd Shit podcast on Facebook, Whiskey and Nerd Shit on TikTok, which is where we're now doing our Whiskey and Nerd Shit shorts, where we're just reviewing bourbons, giving them a ranking, which are also posted to Instagram shortly after.
Yep. Done a few of
We're
those.
doing Boone and Hobbin.
Boone and Hobbin.
Boone and Hobbin.
And then, we're on YouTube now. So we've been promising it for like 6 weeks. We finally made it happen.
6 weeks. It's been 6 months.
It's been six
Boom,
something.
I can't wait to get that gar bar loaded up.
Oh god! Once your garage bar is
Yeah.
set and we're starting to shoot from there, it'll be awesome. We're growing. We're figuring out. Roll with us.
You can call Nebraska Furniture and have them give me my fucking bar sooner. I will send you a bottle of 14-year Balvenie.
That's the other thing we're about to start doing on TikTok. So
Nebraska
get on
Furniture.
TikTok. We're about to start doing giveaways of some rare, expensive shit to people that request certain reviews, just giving feedback, things like that. So get on TikTok and win some
doing
cool
like
shit.
1 ounce pours, send out little samples.
Yep. I've got
One viewer at a
like
time.
30 little sample bottles, and I've got some pretty decent shit on the shelf. So
That we could send out as special olive oil.
You know what
Yeah.
content creators started off with? 1 viewer.
yep.
And it went from there.
So
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Till next time, drink whiskey.
Hail
Hail
Hydra.
Hydra.
I'm out of whiskey.
I make the mistake too.